been very slow. Maybe it's Commissioner Ed Rothstein. It's Thursday, September 7th. And I don't know, are we allowed to say Indian summer anymore? Is that politically incorrect? I have no idea, but I feel like we're going through an Indian summer, or at least that's what we used to call it.
I agree.
Probably can't call it.
However, we're not allowed to say that?
Probably not.
I have no idea.
You know, I'll take the fun out of it.
But it does look, and the real reason I'm bringing it up is it's nasty out there with the heat, and it looks like it's going to break over the weekend, so let's hope it does. Hoping the only course of action I have, because it is the weather. But please take care of yourselves and the kids and the animals. Do not put them in the cars, and that's my safety message for this morning. Before we start, let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, so I hope none of my haters out there will identify me as something other than I am in good jest by saying Indian summer, but just saying that it's the only term I know. Maybe it's just hot weather, I don't know. Roberta, I wasn't sure if we're allowed to say Indian summer or not, but okay. We got a pretty good schedule for this morning, and then we're going to go into closed for some land acquisition afterwards. But let's start off, as we always do, with a bit of Priority Carol and see what's on our minds. And Commissioner Vigliotti, kick us off.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rothstein. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time with Priority Carol today to answer a question I often get about the things that I do besides attending these open sessions, going to meetings, functions, events, gatherings, etc. And so I figured I'd talk about one of those ways as it pertains to questions. So when a citizen writes or calls or texts or sends a message with a question, all of us read through them. If it's a question that's fairly straightforward or we have a ready answer, we get that information back as soon as we can. And if it's a question that is specific or requires information that we don't have on hand, we will inquire after the information ourselves, get that citizen to the individual who will be able to directly help them. And if it's information we inquire after, we'll get back to those citizens ourselves. And sometimes it'll be a mix of responses between us and staff. And sometimes the questions or the comments we get require some research, going back through archives, information from multiple sources, whatever. And sometimes they require a set meeting given the scope of the question. And so while I won't go into detail about what it was we were talking about here, on Tuesday morning before a number of other appointments I met with County Administrator Roberta Wyndham, Deputy County Administrator Deb Effingham, Director of Public Works Brian Boakey, Deputy Director of Public Works Doug Brown, to go over one such citizen concern, to draw on the shared knowledge and the information that everybody was able to provide. So I bring this up not only because I've been asked about it, but to let anybody who might be watching see a different side of the work that we as commissioners and that all of our county directors, managers, supervisors, administrators, and more go through, all in order to serve our citizens. It's a side of the service that all of us participate in, but that rarely gets seen. And the events and functions we attend, the groups, the boards, the committees that we participate in, the open sessions we have where we deliberate, debate, discuss, decide, these things are all extremely important, but so are the unsung things. I know that each of my fellow commissioners up here is routinely corresponding with citizens, meeting with them, having the kinds of meetings that we had in this photo, and devoting themselves to the work that you've entrusted us to do. And so is every person who works for the county, from the landfill to the land preservation office. And again, the work my fellow commissioners and our county workers do often goes unseen, but today I wanted to take a moment to offer credit to all of them for the work that they do. Two very other quick things. Just a reminder that school is back in session, and please do be respectful around buses and students as they go to and from the schools. Don't try to rush around them or intentionally ignore the stop signs when they're extended from the buses. It makes everybody safer, especially our students. And secondly, I wanted to bring attention to and applaud Haven Shoemaker and Tim Weber from the State's Attorney's Office for the recent appearance they had on WBAL promoting the Handle with Care program that they've initiated here with the school system and law enforcement. As they explained on the program, when a student experiences trauma of some kind, law enforcement will make school officials aware, who will in turn make sure the student has what he or she might need from the school, including treating that student carefully and keeping an eye on that student. And so that helps to build better relationships between the students, between the schools, and between law enforcement. And it also makes our community a safer, healthier place as well. And Commissioner Rothstein, that's all I have today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, and thanks for those reminders. Commissioner Kyler.
Hi, good morning, and I'll start out with I love Carroll County, so I don't forget to say it, but I do, and I'll hit family first since it's up there. We don't do a lot of vacations, and 3/4 of our family went down to Orlando, Florida for the weekend. The other quarter did 3 14ers in Colorado, and
I was going to say, this isn't Florida.
That does not look like Florida.
yeah, that was in Florida. Yes, and they're playing. That's my son Tommy and my daughter-in-law Natasha, and they plan to do every 14er in Colorado. I don't know how many they've done. They picked 3 this weekend that were like 6 miles away, almost New Mexico, Arizona border area, and they're nuts, and they love to climb, and my daughter-in-law particularly, although it seems like all of our family's aggressive, I've climbed some easy ones with them, and I'll stop standing here. But this is the summit, and you're not done. You'll regret it if you don't. I said, trust me, I won't regret it. I don't much care. And I have to get up on the summit, so you see they're on the summit because that's the goal when you do it. So neat for them. The rest of the family, we went to Orlando to watch Florida State LSU. And because of that, and yeah, there's we're standing where we took pictures from our seats, which are about 6 rows up in the end zone. When you've got 10 people, you ain't on the 50-yard line. I'd have had to mortgage something, but yeah, we went to Florida State. They happened to win, so that was great. And college football season has started. We had a great time. We met some great people. And yeah, that's the family, and it's so interesting to watch the children and the grandchildren and how they react to the game, and when they cheered, and we had a few LSU guys around us, but at college football games, you sometimes boo the opponent and do whatever. And of course, Rhonda was telling the grandkids they couldn't do it, and I said, everybody around us is, just like. Now, I don't agree with obscene gestures or anything like that, but you can boo a little bit. But so anyway, we had a great time in Orlando. We met Sterling Palmer, who played for Florida State and is now an NFL recruiter, and it's just amazing. We met a bunch of NFL recruiters, and they all would sit and talk with either us or the grandkids or whoever, and it's just great people at these events, and we really, really enjoyed it. We hit, where's the picture of my grandson? And yes, are we having fun yet? We took our kids at what was hopefully the appropriate age to Disney World, which I hate Disney World. I hate supporting it, but it's hard to fight with the kids. So we're there, and I did a time frame we were there 3 days, and we had to meet at 6:30 a.m. and be at this ride at 7 and this ride at 8. And for some reason, my 3 children, my wife, didn't think it was a vacation when it's that structured. So I actually had them at a bus stop back then, and I took a napkin and said, "Are we having fun yet?" and posed for pictures. So we had to do this picture to do it. And then I don't know how many of you guys know Voodoo Donuts. They're crazy. They started in Oregon, and they have a shop in Denver. I didn't even know they were in Florida, but they're at Universal. But I said, I love seeing it in Denver, and I'm not one of them that's walked several miles and in shape, but you'll see these Colorado people who are all about fitness in a line 25, 30 people long to buy a dozen donuts every morning. So I guess if you do enough exercise, you can do that stuff. So at any rate, enough about my family, but we had a great weekend, and we all need to. It's interesting, and I've told a couple people at my first Mako thing, I was at a table with Johnny O from Baltimore County, and the first thing he said to the group, which impressed me, was, don't forget about your families. It's great that you're in an elected position. It's great that you love Carroll County, but don't forget about your family, because they're important, and when you let them slide to the side, you end up regretting it. Yeah, there's my son-in-law, daughter, and 2 grandkids from North Carolina. There is the Hawk, where they were all upside down briefly. And yeah, we had a great time. So enough of that. I do want to apologize. Friday, I was going to go to T-Mobile's grand opening, and Southwest changed our plane tickets to earlier, and I could not. So I apologize for missing that. So many of these ribbon cuttings, grand openings, it's awesome. You can't get to all of them, but it's awesome to see these businesses in Carroll County and hopefully thriving in Carroll County. Last night I did go to the Carroll County Realtors ribbon cutting, and there was a great turnout. Commissioner Gordon and Commissioner Guerin were both there also, and they've got a great new building, and they do a lot of good work, and I think Commissioner Gordon said it last night, we all need to work together, and they do a good job, and they're, like a lot of industries right now, they're challenged with inflation, with interest. What really worries me about Carroll County, and I don't want to belittle it, but if you're looking for a $400,000 or $500,000 house and interest goes up 1 point, you're probably still buying a house. If you're looking at a starter home, that totally messes up the amount of loan you can get. And there aren't that many in Carroll County to begin with, but you can lose $30,000, $40,000 in your loan commitment because interest went up, and it's really, really hurting people, and we do need to work together, and we need to, I want to be able to see my kids, my grandkids live in Carroll County, and they need to buy starter houses. You know, they get out of college or out of a trade school or start out of high school, they don't have 20% down, and it's hard. Again, I want to thank everybody. Like I say, I love Carroll County, and I bored you a little bit with family, but your families are important too, and we all need to keep them as a priority. Thank you.
Okay.
Well said.
Thanks. Commissioner Gordon.
Thank you. So this past Saturday, I attended the Find Your Purpose Back to School event at the Westminster City Park. Very inspiring event that assisted roughly over 100 kids for the 2023-2024 school year. I myself was one of the guest readers, as were a number of the public school staff, as well as Mayor Mona Becker and the 2 founders and owners of Rudolph Girls. It was a great event to be at. It was a wide array of individuals included supporting this, from Ting, which of course is the internet company here in Westminster, Rock Salt Grill, Councilman Kevin Dayhoff and his wife were there with Carroll County Food Sunday, assisting the community. It's just and I'm going to leave a number of people out, and I'm going to apologize for that. But we had Collision Course, Carroll Tech and Innovative Council was there. There was discussion about, the availability of internet connection for those that are struggling with that, both location and economically. Just was a good turnout for the kids. It was all about the kids. It's always uplifting when you can help people and you get to see it firsthand versus just hearing about it. It's why I highly recommend to anybody, if you can, get involved. It's always great when you can contribute money, but it's even better when you get to see happy individuals and being a part of that. Yesterday, as Commissioner Kyler mentioned, myself, Commissioner Guerin, and he were all at the Realtors grand opening. There's the one of the little trinket keys they were giving out, thanking us as coming to the ribbon cutting. It's really incredible. For 67 years, you have the Carroll County Realtors existing, and I just thought it was a testament, seeing their new building and how this is structured. They're going to be able to offer classes on site for the first time. I think they added roughly, they told me, about 2,000 square feet from their previous location. And, it's a hot topic both in Carroll County and then the region as a whole, which is housing. How do we find housing? And when I say affordable, I know some people immediately think Section 8. That's not what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about the ability to afford it. And it's very taxing, because when you look at what a house cost in 2019 versus now, with the interest rates, with everything else involved, it has become an incredible challenge. And I think it's something I know we're all looking at, but I think it's something we've really got to wrap our heads around, because yes, we do want that quality of life in Carroll County, but we also want to have our firefighters, our law enforcement, our teachers, and anyone to have and appreciate that. So I appreciate them having us out for the ribbon cutting. And then just a brief heads up, this evening I will be at Covalent Spirits in Westminster. There is an event they're having jointly with the Historical Society of Carroll County. It's called History Shaken and Stirred, and the lineup includes myself, Steve Bowersox, Ryan Melhorn, Sam Riley, and Galen Rupp. We'll be giving the audience some interesting local history surprises and conversation at that, starting this evening at 6 o'clock. And that takes place in Covalent Spirits, which was mentioned recently in the paper. That is the old city garage building. So it's great to see that Jennifer Yang and Drew Cockley were able to take a building that has sat for decades in downtown Westminster and revitalize that into something that brings energy and people and interest to that part of town. So kudos to them on their almost year anniversary coming up in November, and should be a fun time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Guerin.
Good morning, Carroll County. It's been mentioned I was also at the ribbon cutting for the Realtor Association's new building last night, and I want to congratulate Brian Lipsky and all of the realtors in Carroll County. It's very evident when you get around that crowd that they truly love Carroll County. They love selling Carroll County. They care deeply about it, and I appreciate what they do. They've got a fantastic facility. According to Brian, it seems like they finally got the facility that they always think they needed after about 3 or 4 moves. We need to be making their jobs easier, not harder, and I think that I put words to action on that one, and I'll always feel that way. So again, congratulations to Brian Lipsky and the Realtors Association on the new building, and thanks for having us last night. But prior to that, I attended the Opioid Senior Policy Group meeting, which a lot of people in this room were there. I've only been on the group for 9 months, but yesterday's meeting really seemed like it was in 5th gear. Like it's like things are clicking, things are happening, and I was so appreciative of, first of all, everybody in the county in the health capacity, law enforcement, Chief Robinson, Fire and EMS. Dr. McCabe was there, or trying to be there, and it was funny. At some point, she texted in and says, I'm trying to participate in the meeting, but I'm a little busy today. It's only the 2nd day of school, so you have to forgive me. And we all kind of chuckled. It's like, yeah, I think we're going to give you a pass, Dr. McCabe. So, again, it's an incredible group, and I am extremely appreciative of the broad approach they're taking. Obviously, it's a lot about opioids, but we're talking a lot about cannabis as well. All these things together make for a very dangerous mix. We're even getting into things like smoking and alcoholism and all these things. And I'm just so appreciative. You've got some incredible professionals. I'm going to leave people out, but again, I'm just very appreciative. Sue Doyle and Kathy Baker, Brent Webb, Avery Meyer, Stephanie was there. I don't know if Stephanie's here this morning. Amy Legele. Again, just an incredible group of people, and I'm extremely appreciative. Of course, Celine Stakel, again, I just extremely appreciative. Right now, year to date, Jermaine, I don't leave Jermaine out. We met yesterday, I think. Good seeing you. 236 overdoses as of September 6th, with 28 of those resulting in deaths. And I do not know the statistics, but I can only imagine what that number would be if it wasn't for the proliferation of Noxolin and Narcan, however you want to phrase it. It could be so much worse. So, again, I'm proud to be on that group, but I'm extremely appreciative of everybody that's associated with that group. The entire health department's focused on this effort. It was a great meeting, and I'm just extremely appreciative of what people are doing. And we as commissioners recognize how truly important this is. So, and I guess on that note, I'll end my remarks, and we're going to have some follow-on discussions here a little bit because it is Recovery Month.
Yep, absolutely. Prior to doing that, just a couple things. Excuse me. Latest statistics in unemployment. The country is at 3.5%. Maryland's at 1.7%, and Carroll County's at 1.5%. It sounds great about the numbers being so low, but it doesn't take into effect all of the continued requirements that are still out there and vacancies. Fortunately, we have a community college that is recognized in reaching out to those needs and creating certifications and classes to meet those demands. Sometimes you think the lower number is a better number. Well, it's a balancing act, because when you get to about 3% unemployment, you're kind of flat. When you get to 1.5, you're opposite, and that could be sometimes more dangerous than the other way around. But I just want to bring that to your attention. Very proud of the workforce development team that we have in Carroll County, and all those, working towards getting our Carroll counties employed. Couple of things. Excuse me. A few weeks ago, we had the storm that really rocked us pretty hard, with 120 county roads that were closed down due to trees and power lines, and door power lines. 140, which was really trashed, and showed the partnership between the state, BG&E, the city, and the county all working together to ensure no lives were lost, which is still miraculous in so many ways. But then also the deliberate actions that took place right afterwards, where everything was, I won't say back to normal, but back to normal within about 6 days. It was like a Monday evening it happened, and then Monday everything was open. So we had 58,000, give or take, power outages across the county. Those were all back by that Saturday. So the work BG&E did. The reason I'm bringing this up is, again, it's about partnership. And one of the commitments that we made here in the county was to address it to the state and saying, listen, we are a partner with you, and they committed to being a partner with us. So we reached out to the state to share with them the cost that it takes to do something like this, and work to get a shared revenue from them. So more to follow on that, but I'm bringing that to the community's attention, kind of where Commissioner Vigliotti was saying is, we have to do our homework, and this was a lot of work done. Now we're in a position to share it with our governor and his team, and then continue to work from there, and move forward. A couple of things happening next week. Wednesday is Seniors on the Go. Expo, and really excited about that. That's going to happen in the Ag Center in the Shipley Arena, starting at 8 o'clock?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. Okay.
But you have to be there at 8.
Oh, I'm not going to be there at 8. At 9 o'clock, but I am really excited. It's always just a great event, with the healthcare opportunities and recognizing all the opportunities for our seniors. Some you'll see with their bags, getting every tchotchke they can imagine, putting them in their bags and putting it on their cart and going forward. But that's okay too. It gives me, along with my colleagues and everyone else, opportunity to talk to the community and be there. And I just get energized when I am there, because of our commitment in Carroll County and taking care of our seniors and taking care of the groups we have. Our senior centers are phenomenal. This is not a paid advertisement for Celine that I'm seeing in front of me, but it's just we do it so well. And Senior Expo is kind of a one-day event, so that's on the 13th. On a more somber note, but very important, is 9/11 is on Monday, and it's the 22nd anniversary. The challenge with 9/11, in so many ways, is it becoming in the history books, and our children are not even being taught the effects of 9/11, or if they are, it may be a 1 or 2 lines. But knowing that almost 3,000 were killed, it was like 2,997, I think, somewhere around there, that were killed on that horrific day. And most of us up here remember it as if it was yesterday, where we were, what activities were taking place, never looking up in the sky, seeing the same, what an airplane could actually do, because it went from an airplane of transportation to an airplane of total destruction. And on Monday morning, and I appreciate that Chris showing this, there is a ceremony, wreath laying ceremony, and an event at the training center at 8:30 in the morning, where myself and my colleagues will be. That is a part of the World Trade Center right in front of us, and we're blessed in the county to have that. We requested it, and it really ended up being kind of like a lottery system on how we were to get it, and we received that piece. And then that evening, down in Mount Airy at 6:30 p.m., there's another 9/11 ceremony as cemetery.
At the Pine Grove Chapel on Main Street, yes.
Yeah, so
Correct.
because I was asked to also attend that and say a few words as well. I just, want to remind people, 9/11, embrace your family and your friends and your neighbors, but understand that it hit us hard, and we were on bended knee, but we were only on bended knee for seconds, and we wiped off the dust and kept moving forward. And that's my the message for everyone. Again, not to be somber about it, but to also show our strength, how we move forward, and we continue to move forward.
Well said.
So what I'd like to do now is we have a couple other special guests for Priority Carroll. The first is the library, and thanks, is the library talking about present books. Thanks. For One Maryland, One Book, and Carroll Reads. Come on up.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. So we've got a whole bunch of things. We wanted to provide you with some new reading material, because that's what libraries do. So in the bags that Lisa and Joe have given you, there are 2 titles. One is All My Rage. That is the Carroll Reads book for this year. That's a partnership program that we're doing with Carroll County Schools to encourage everyone in Carroll County to read the same book and discuss it during the months of September and October. So it's a great story. It's a very personal story. I think people will really enjoy that. Then you also have There, which is the Maryland Humanities Council selection for One Maryland, One Book. And every year, Maryland Humanities Council picks out a book for the whole state to read. And so there you go. You've got your, you've got your reading material for the next couple of weeks. Also in there, you will find there's some information about upcoming things that we have. There's for some of you who were at Mako, we gave out the Let Freedom Read bracelets. There's another one in there for you in the highly demanded red and blue colors. So it seems like those are the ones that went first. And then there's a flyer for an event that we have that we're going to be doing with the Goodwill of Monocacy Valley, which is a symposium for Stronger Carroll. We've sent the date out, I believe, to the commissioners a little ahead of time. This will be December 8th, which is a Friday. And we are pleased to announce that the keynote speaker for that event will be Dr. Ben Carson. He will be there to speak about, things that we can do as a community to help those individuals who are sort of that same group that you all were talking about earlier today, looking for those entry-level homes, holding entry-level position jobs, trying to advance themselves, trying to provide better for their families. How can we as a community, government, nonprofit, all come together and make sure they have a safety net? So that's going to be part of the discussion for the day, and he will be the keynote for that. We also wanted to bring up the fact, and as you can see the stats on the slide there, our 2022 stats have just come out. One of the things Carroll County Public Library is very proud of is the fact that we are usually first in the state in circulations per capita. So the number of items borrowed compared to the number of people who live in the county. We are once again first. We are first by several titles. I think that the next closest one is 14 maybe, or 15. So we are really proud of the fact that Carroll is a reading community. We are a literate community, and we celebrate that in everything that we do. You can also see there that we have had a 4% increase in people getting cards, or people registering, for summer reading over last year. So summer reading is coming back strongly. And you can see that our library cards are at 52%. We would really love to see that get to like 60%. Those are people that have used their library cards in the last 18 to 24 months. Okay, so if you don't use your card inside of 2 years, we purge that card from the system. We don't count it anymore. It sits sort of dormant in the system. So we'd really love to see that get to like 60% if we could. And it would really be helpful if we made sure, and I haven't looked if all the commissioners have cards or not, but if you don't get one, please do, and we want to encourage that.
My card was yellow, and you made me replace it.
Yeah, the yellow cards had to be replaced. We're really sorry about that. And you can see our circulation is at 2.9 million. That's both physical and digital materials. And when you count our visits, which I don't think we put on the slide, we've had over 500,000 visits in person and another 1.2 million online. So we've had over 1.8 million visits either digitally or in person to Carroll County in the fiscal year 2022, which is phenomenal when you think of the size of our population. So we have a lot of foot traffic. The library is doing phenomenal. Our events are selling out. I feel really bad if you tried to get John Stamos tickets and couldn't. They sold out in about 8 hours, 850 tickets in 8 hours. We do have some tickets left for James Patterson. If you're interested, that's at the end of September. And then we've got a couple of other really big titles, or really big authors and speakers coming as well. But we just wanted to stop by. We wanted to give you these books. We wanted to give you the information. And we wanted to tell you that the library is thriving right now. People have come back in droves after the pandemic, And we're really working hard to make sure that we meet the community's needs at all the different levels: job placement, literacy, technology, connecting with the internet and technology skills, and just celebrating reading overall.
No, thank you. Your workforce's commitment is a testament to you as a leader, and I know you have a handful here, so who do you have here?
Oh, well, with us, we have our Director of Public Service, Joe Thompson, Katie Townsley, who is Manager for Development and Community Engagement. I have Lisa Picker, who's our Director of Communications, and our newest member, Laura Bavetta, who is our new admin. I'm really sorry, she came from the county. We're really happy to have her.
I just wanted to make you say that.
We're really happy to have her. We just love her. And we have a great team. I'm really proud of my staff. They work very hard, and they're always coming up with new ideas. It's all I can do to kind of keep up with them some days. But that's a great challenge to have.
No, I just want to make you say that. Just who you took.
I know you. As soon as you said that, I knew where you were going with that.
But also, I'm sure Katie appreciated my comment about the heat and the animals as well. So
Yes, absolutely.
because of all the work that she does.
And the libraries are cooling centers, so there we go. We
And the
what's something else
libraries are
that we
cooling
do?
centers.
Yes.
Absolutely, thank you. Any comments?
Well, thank you very much for everything that you guys do in general. I'm really glad to see that the library is being so heavily used and it is thriving. Thank you very much for the books. Which one do you want us to read first?
I would suggest you read the All My Rage first. It is the Carol Reads. It's our local, and I think that the story behind it, you'll find some relevance with the community that we serve. The selection for that was made by the library, but we made it in conjunction with our peers at CCPS, as well as some of our other local partners like a Likely Story Bookstore and Rudolph Girls. And Lisa's going to shoot me because I know I'm forgetting partners at this point, but
We have many.
there's about 8 partners.
Center.
Carroll Arts Center, there's like 8 partners on the committee that helped us make that selection.
Awesome.
Do you have a like a local author section in your libraries?
Some of our libraries have those pulled aside, but mostly they're interfiled with whatever genre, like if they write fiction
Yeah.
or nonfiction. We try and get local authors as much as we possibly can. When they've written something that we know will be of interest to the community, we try and get them in. The Historical Society also gets them in if they write like
Okay.
local history, then they tend to move to that.
Yeah.
So between the two of us,
Right.
we usually get most of them.
Okay. Any other comments to be made?
Thank you for all you do.
Yes, thank you. I will make one really brief one, and those numbers are absolutely amazing. I mean, you and I had that conversation at Mako a couple weeks ago, but I think it's a testament to Carroll County that we read, and I think that shows a lot of things that come out of that in this community. So thank you for everything you do, and the staff that is here, and everyone that's not, but today.
Thank you.
But thank you very much.
Thank you all. Very good.
Thanks. Okay, we're going to move on to a proclamation. Sometimes you have to say these type of proclamation you wish you didn't have to do, but fortunately we have a reason to do this, and we are doing it very well, as Commissioner Guerin shared, when it comes to recovery and identification and putting our best step forward. So Recovery Month proclamation for 2023. Commissioner Kyler will read the proclamation, but if some want to come up to the table to talk through it, please feel free. And please don't be shy, because I'm just going to pick on you anyway.
And as you're coming up, I really love this proclamation, and it mentions substance abuse and mental health more than once. And Recovery Month is great. Any of us that deny being touched by this are either very, very lucky or not telling the truth. But I'm also concerned, before I read this, and you guys that have been through recovery and have stayed, I just envy so much, and I also, my heart breaks for those that can't quite make it, or make it and backslide, you know, there's young people, but there's 50, 60-year-olds that also can't recover. It's tough, and thank you guys for all you do. You want me to read? You want them to talk?
You first.
Okay.
Think.
Proclamation Recovery Month, September 2023. National Recovery Month is an observance held in each September beginning in 1989 to promote and support new evidence-based treatment and recovery practices. The emergence of a strong and proud recovery community and the dedication of service providers and community members across the nation who make recovery in all its forms possible. And whereas recovery is defined by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration as a process of change through which individuals improve their health and wellness, live self-directed lives, and strive to reach their full potential. In September, we celebrate with all individuals walking their path to recovery, no matter what that path looks like and no matter how far they have come and have yet to go. The journey is yours alone, and we celebrate each of you. And whereas through Recovery Month, we seek to share a message of hope, recovery is possible. And whereas we encourage anyone in our community in need of support to take that first step. Your first step can be shaky, or it could be a long ride. It does not matter. So long as you are starting your journey, you are worth it. Now, therefore, we, the Board of Carroll County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim September as Recovery Month in Carroll County and commend this observance to all citizens. Adopted the 7th day of September 2023, the Board of County Commissioners.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, either you want to start from us and then to you, or?
I think let them go.
Okay, why don't you start it off then, please?
Good morning. Thank you so much for the proclamation. For me, Recovery Month is very important. I am a lifelong member of Carroll County, you know, and through my addictions, I took a lot from my community, you know, and for me, the last 8 years, I've been giving back to my community. And with that, only came with me finding recovery. You know, it's been an uphill battle, but I think I'm on a good path. And you know, my goal is to guide other people, you know, in my community to recovery. You know, like the proclamation said, what that looks like for them. You know, and it's great, like for me, because I know so many people in the community that are, you know, struggling, and they've seen me struggle as well, and they look at me, and some of them have even mentioned, if Jermaine can do this, I know I can do this, you know, and I just love to give hope and be there for my community. But one of the best things that's happened is having the opportunity to work for the health department. You know, I'm there now as a peer recovery supervisor. I started as a peer, and what a peer is someone that has lived experience with addiction, alcoholism, mental health, and is in recovery now, and gives back and helps others on the path of recovery. So, you know, it's been a blessing, and I think it's been good for our community, because what better people to help those in the struggle than someone that's been there. So I thank you guys for this today, and that's all.
Oh, thank you. Very well said, Jermaine.
Yeah, I think, and it's important, because I don't think we think about it, and maybe you didn't even mean it this way, but whatever, it set me off. Before you can worry about recovery, you have to survive the whole process, and that, a lot of people don't survive that. So I love when you said that.
Yes.
So what else is on your minds?
Good morning. My name is Amy Lagel, and I'm here representing the Prevention Office of the Health Department. I first want to thank you, Commissioner Guerin, for attending the Opioid Senior Policy Meeting, and thank you, Commissioner Kyler, for attending the Opioid Prevention Coalitions. Your presence at those meetings is important and it's impactful, and we value it and we greatly appreciate it.
They're great meetings. It's easy to sit there for 2 hours.
Good. I also want to thank my colleagues in recovery. It's a real privilege to be able to be up here today. One of the biggest strengths of the Prevention Office is getting to work alongside and with our colleagues in recovery, having the opportunity to learn so much from them. They exemplify resilience. We get to witness that on a daily basis. And as Commissioner Rothstein knows, resilience is a foundational and critical concept for us in prevention, promoting it, living it, experiencing it, and as I said, witnessing it in our colleagues. So I want to thank my colleagues in recovery. It's my honor to help them and join them celebrate Recovery Month.
Amy, very well
To
said.
introduce my brand new colleague.
Yes.
Okay. Hi. Well, this is new. You guys are intimidating. Hi, my name's Hannah. I should say I'm an
wanna sit up
alcoholic.
here? We'll sit down
but
here?
what? My name's Hannah. And this is my 3rd week working for the health department in Carroll County. I'm not from Carroll County, from Reisterstown, but Carroll County is a beautiful area. And I'm in training right now to be a peer recovery specialist, and it's intimidating, all this terminology, but peer recovery specialist really interests me and to get this job because I've been in recovery I've experienced in recovery for 8 years, and just seeing, my transformation and then trying to help someone else, their first day in recovery and giving back, and just to see their transformation from a year ago, I'm like, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. If I can do it, they can do it. And I feel like it's a team effort, and not feeling alone, and not just to quit, drugs or alcohol. It's how do you live life and doors open for you, and coming into recovery, I'm how do you have fun? And all these events and coming into the peer recovery specialist, I get emails oh, there's a skating event, AA and recovery skating, what? Fun. Last year, whitewater rafting, and how to enjoy life, and you don't have to feel alone, and meeting all these people in recovery and getting their wisdom, and it's a whole wide world full of recovery and giving back too. So, yeah, thank you.
Hannah, really well said, and that's,
Thank you.
you shouldn't be intimidated. I'm intimidated after I follow Commissioner Vigliotti.
Yeah.
Okay, because I use small, but let me just share a couple things and then pass it on to my colleagues, because you did really say it very well.
Thank
You and all three of you. And Amy, I talk about resiliency a lot, because I go through it, continually. And, it's whether it's through medication, whether it's through seeing somebody, which I do, it's important, because when I recognized it or others recognized it in me, I don't want others to go through what I did. I'm, like you said, going to be 60. Thanks a lot. But I don't want a 25-year-old to have to go through that journey of challenge when I can open my mouth and say, look at me, and try not to, let's figure this out. There's a book out there. I think it's The Great Panda and Little Dragon. And the Great Panda once asked the Little Dragon, what's more important, the journey or the destination? And the Little Dragon said, the company. And that's what it is, exactly what you just said. It's the company that you all put together. And it just so happens I'm going to be going to a wedding in a couple days, and I'm going to be saying the same dang thing, so I remember this. Because it's all about the company. And it gives you purpose, once you start making the right steps. So I really appreciate it. Now, my addictions were not with alcohol and drugs. It was through PTSD and depression, anxiety. And you're right, there's programs. I'm part of the Wounded Warrior program and alumni, and we have, skating and whitewater rafting, all those type of events where we can talk to each other, because it is about the company. And, you know, you're never going to get there, but, you know, you just keep going forward. So I appreciate everything you shared, all three of you. So with that, why don't I pass this on if anybody else has comments you want to make?
Sure. Commissioner, did you want to start?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to say, you know, echoing what the proclamation said, you are worth it. If anybody's out there who's looking for help or wants to receive help, you are worth it, and take that step to reach out. You know, I cannot commend all of you enough for putting your experiences to good use, because what you do resonates far beyond what you begin. I want to say that I admire all of you, and I look up to you for the courage that you have to do this, to move beyond this, to again, to put that experience to good use. And I will just briefly conclude by saying that, you know, we are blessed to have you as part of this county, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Again, I appreciate what you're doing, and I appreciate the fact that there is a certain amount of focus on younger people and what's going on in the schools and coming out of the pandemic. I've got 2.5 teenagers, I guess you could say, so I've seen it firsthand. You know, what's going on with that age group. They've got friends that just disappeared. It concerns the hell out of me. So I appreciate your focus on that as well, because I know that continuously comes up. You're focusing on anybody that needs help and pushing 988 at the same time and everything else that you can do. So thank you very much.
I just want to thank you all personally. Obviously, first and foremost, for, you know, looking out for yourselves and making that step. It's not an easy journey. Like Commissioner Kyler said earlier, I think everybody knows someone and that has been affected in some fashion. There's none of us that haven't been, be it loved one, personal friend, or just, you know, one of our neighbors, which we're all neighbors to each other. I really commend you all for not only taking that journey, but also trying to help others along the way. I mean, I think it's virtually impossible for any of us to completely have that understanding. You have that understanding and knowledge firsthand, and I think it's, for lack of a better word, wonderful that you're utilizing that in a positive fashion to assist others in the community. I just want to thank you.
Okay. Why don't we, I think, get a picture to commemorate this, and the magic man from behind the door. Why don't you take your stickers off? You don't need those. Just hold on to them to leave.
We wanted to surprise her.
I should have worn dress.
We make everybody look good.
I don't like dress.
I was wondering where the magic man was.
Pretended it was.
Good.
Oh no.
Oh, yeah, yes. We go. My daughter was Okay, who wants to hold this?
Okay. Hello again. Oh, I'm in the front.
Come on in here, we'll open it up if you want, so we'll get you like to stand next to some folks.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Let's get you in here. You sure? Well, we'll scoot in, so she doesn't feel so alone up here. I'm doing my part, I'm in the back.
Should we smile?
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Yay. Okay. Thank you.
That's one of our things we're going to do this month. We're taking gift bags to all the recovery homes in Carroll County.
We're cleaning out some stuff that I'll have. So if there's some that can take the box let me know, and as usual, we have about 24 hours to do it, because we've got more stuff out there. But if somebody could email me today, Rhonda, my wife, would love to take some. Otherwise, when I get home tonight, I got to, every time
Right.
You can help me.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, I'll be on that.
Yeah. I'm coming off the medication. But they and my family straight to the bush. Somebody can't take this stuff there. Even the food pantry. Which I understand. You should look for the footage. Just Google this one.
Yes, I wouldn't know you. It's fine. All right. Thanks for everything. Have a good day.
Not no relation to.
Okay. You know.
It's not a common last name.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, no, it's yours, and that's why I say however you guys want to keep us and shred it and not tell us. It's up to you.
That's the one thing I
frame it.
guarantee we won't do.
They get framed and hung up in the health department.
Thank
Yes,
you.
they get framed.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
They go to our lovely Miss Terry. She'll take
Terry,
care of it.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice frame.
Okay, who am I going You're gonna see
What's your life?
They gave me another one.
What'd you get?
This fell off here, and he brought me one, but it was on the floor. So, okay. What we're going to do is, Mr. Hahn, why don't you come on up? We're going to talk about the ordinance change, restaurants and agricultural and conservation.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Ms. Hannah. Who's going to lead us through this?
So, yes, Mary Lane and Hannah Weber will be walking us through these proposed changes.
Okay.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. If you remember, we have talked about this many times, but we are here for your discussion and approval or denial of 2 zoning text amendments regarding restaurants in the Agriculture and Conservation District. We previously held a public hearing for this on August 24th, and since then we have received no more public comment. So the first zoning text amendment is regarding farm alcohol producers, and this proposed amendment is to bring our zoning code into consistency with the newly passed Maryland legislation. So here is the proposed language that you've now seen many times. The next one is regarding restaurants at golf courses. This is to allow golf courses and golf driving ranges to operate a restaurant alongside the golfing use. The first part of this amendment is to include golf courses and golf driving ranges in our distance requirements. So they must be 400 feet, at least 400 feet, from any lot in a residential district, any residential lot of less than 3 acres in the agri-conservation district, and 400 feet from adjoining lots of 3 acres or more with a minimum separation distance of at least 300 feet from dwellings. We are also proposing amendments to the use table for this. We are adding Chapter 158, 169 to outdoor recreational area to notify anybody operating a golf driving range to locate themselves to Chapter 158, 169. We are also adding a new use to the use table, food service as part of a golf course and or golf driving range. This will be a conditional use in both the Ag and Conservation District. And lastly, amendments to Chapter 158, 169, golf course and or golf driving range. We will allow food service as part of a golf course and golf driving range, but must be authorized by the BZA and must go through a site plan process with the County Planning Commission. Golf courses and golf driving ranges are subject to the distance requirements in 158.040. Food services may not operate a drive-through service, and food services allowed within this section must operate under the existing name of the golf course and or golf driving range. So that's the summary of the 2 amendments, and it's up for your discussion.
I know I'm a stickler. You try to slow down. My mind, I'm trying really hard. I don't know if my colleagues, but yeah, just really good information. Bring it down just a little bit. The catalyst for doing this, was it specifically honed in on one business? And are there other opportunities for other golf courses and ranges to be developed in Carroll County?
So two-part question. So the first part answer is yes, there were some businesses that we were seeking to create compliance for them because going strictly by the existing code, they were out of compliance. So we were looking to address those. To answer your second question, yes, there is opportunity for additional golf courses. They're a conditional use in both the agricultural and conservation zone district. I will say as an aside though, I don't know that the golfing industry is such that we are concerned about a proliferation of new golf courses though in the county.
No, yeah, the golf industry's been having a tough time for a long time. But I just don't want this to be perceived as spot zoning or whatever we call. Is that the right term, spot zoning, or what do we call that?
Special interest.
Yeah. I just don't want it to be perceived as targeting one location and therefore we're accommodating this location to do this. That. Okay.
This is an attempt to, as Hannah mentioned, to keep the county code in compliance with the state regulations as far as the farm alcohol producers, and to address something that, I mean, nobody's perfect when we draft these codes, and so the codes related to golf industries and so on neglected the kind of industry standard, which is that many of these have food type preparation businesses associated with them. And so we wanted to make sure that we could accommodate that and not have anybody in non-compliance because of an oversight in the previous code.
Quick question, just going back, the newly proposed language for golf courses, and Hannah, I don't know if I heard you wrong or you misspoke. You had mentioned it was located 400 feet from any residential district. I'm just confirming this because I know in the document it says 200. I just want to make sure which was correct.
Yes, so for golf course and golf driving range, it says the following uses shall be 2 times. So if you,
Gotcha.
200 times 2 is 400.
Okay, no, absolutely. Just want to make sure I was following.
And just to be clear, that's not that we're concerned about keeping the restaurant 400 feet away. It's just that the restaurant is part of the golf course and so on, and so they then need to conform with the golf driving range or restaurant or golf course as well.
And by doing this, it'll accommodate those that are in question regarding compliance.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'll just go on, I guess, to begin the discussion. I'm totally in favor of both of these amendments. I'm in favor of ratifying both of them, and I think as we've considered a number of major issues over the last, almost a year now that we've been in office. I've always asked myself whether what we're doing fits within the framework of our county, our culture, our values, our society, and whether what we do has a fittingness with home and fittingness for home, for that matter. I know that we all love the place we live and we want to preserve the very best of who we are and what we are, and I think that both of these reforms allow us to do that by absorbing simple but growing directions and industry standards when it comes to something as straightforward as people wanting to eat something when they play a round of golf or when they have a locally made wine. And I think that by reforming our own code to do so, we're not only enabling farm alcohol producers, golf courses, and driving ranges the ability to meet customer requests, generate more business, and live up to the industry standards, but I think we're also giving our citizens and the citizens of surrounding locales a reason to spend their leisure time in Carroll. We're also, I think, strengthening our economy by doing so. And we're further securing agricultural use of land, at least with the one reform that really is a low impact, and it complements what already exists in both cases. And so, in other words, in my mind, it fits, and I will be voting in favor of both of these.
I move the board approve the proposed amendments to Chapter 158 of the county's zoning code.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion, I got a second. I think I've heard the opinion already from Commissioner Vigliotti, but if there's any other discussion, seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, let's
Thank you for
move
all of
on.
your work on this, too. All of you.
Let's move on to Chapter 158 regarding drug treatment facilities.
We're here today to ask for your permission to take this text amendment
to public hearing. It's regarding drug treatment definitions in the zoning code. As you're aware, drug treatment facilities are included by federal law in the definitions of nursing homes and assisted living facilities. That is not explicitly stated, however, in our code, and this is seeking to remedy that. So I'll just go through a brief history. As you'll recall, you met at the end of June downstairs to discuss uses related to the Ag and Conservation Districts. One area of concern was the lack of clarity, as I just stated, in that drug treatment facilities, while under federal law part of assisted living and nursing homes, there's a perception because of our code that they may not be. So this, again, was referred to the Planning and Zoning Commission. They heard it and discussed it on July 18th, requested a little bit more clarifying language, which we brought back to them on August 15th, and they recommended it to you with a favorable recommendation. So the first thing we're doing in section 158.002 is regarding definitions. And this is a brand new definition. You see that it's underlined, which is drug treatment facility, a licensed facility that specializes in the evaluation and treatment of drug addiction, alcoholism, and associated disorders. This facility may provide residential treatment, partial hospital treatment, or outpatient treatment services. The facility may provide a treatment program for behavioral health services only if established and operated in accordance with applicable state laws for residential treatment programs. And then what we've done is amended 4 other definitions already in the code. The first is assisted living facility, to point out that if it is an approved assisted living facility under state licensing for the purposes of this zoning chapter, it may also include a drug treatment facility. Again, not a change, just a clarification. Daycare center, in case there's any question about it, it does not include a drug treatment facility. The next definition to be amended is nursing home, and similarly to assisted living, pointing out that it may include a drug treatment facility, and retreat facility, which is already a very long definition, would not include a drug treatment facility. We're making no changes to the use tables or any other regulations. Again, I know I've said it a few times, simply a clarification. And we're requesting your permission to take this to public hearing.
The overall intent is to be in compliance with federal definitions and regulations? Is that the...
So our code was already in compliance, and how we implemented the code was already in compliance. This is strictly just clarification of our definitions.
Okay.
Yes.
So if somebody applies for a conditional use for a nursing home, the citizens are aware that that could be a drug treatment facility.
Right. Okay.
And before, I think a lot of citizens weren't aware that that was federal.
Right.
Right.
You know, it's we can't change it.
Yes.
Now, does any of this relate to residential communities or a homeowners association or anything like that, or most of this is not in those neighborhoods?
A nursing home or an assisted living facility is a conditional use in the residential districts, but not the 8 beds and under. It's not addressing that at all. But if any place there could be a nursing home or could be an assisted living, it could be a drug treatment facility.
So if one of them were in a residential community that had a homeowners association, they could be more strict?
Yes.
I believe usually, but
Yes, so they would be subject to private covenants that could be more strict than the law.
Underneath the HOA.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. There are some exemptions. One of them is, I remember, satellite dishes. HOAs aren't allowed to prohibit those, but I digress.
Yes. But thanks for that knowledge.
Well, I do appreciate you throwing that out there. That made my day. So
I feel like
thank you there, Mr. Perk.
I feel like maybe he has some personal experience with that.
So, if we were to address nursing homes in residential, we could do that, correct? If
Yes.
there was a want.
If there was a want, you could. However, we would have to be careful about not prohibiting them across the board in all uses. If that make, or all zoning districts, right? We can't zone something out of existence.
Correct, but we could modify it out of residential if we were to decide.
Yes, but you would have to universally address all nursing homes. You could not address drug treatment facility nursing homes differently than elder care nursing homes.
Yeah.
And you may be creating some non-conforming uses. I can't remember the research we did, but there's definitely some approved.
Yeah,
in
I would definitely expect that.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Wouldn't touch the small ones.
Small being 8 and under?
8 beds and under. Those are protected by federal and state law.
Regardless, they could be within residential communities unless the HOA specifically states that they're not able to, or no?
For zoning purposes, if I may ask,
Take
those
HOA
are private
out of it.
contracts
Yeah.
that government doesn't have anything to do with. And so the HOA contracts are private contracts between the buyer and the seller and the community.
Okay.
And they are not enforceable or enforced by local government. So what they choose to do is a separate issue. But zoning wise,
Okay.
the local government do not have control over those 8 and under and where they can go.
We're not able to
Regulate those.
regulate 8 and under,
Correct.
regardless.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I just want, again, for me, it's the clarification, so I appreciate walking this down a little bit. Okay, so the request here is to take what you provided and allow it to go to public hearing, correct?
Yes.
and to clarify, that's what would be the next steps if we were to move forward? So people know.
We would have to run a newspaper advertisement twice and come back in a couple weeks and have the public hearing.
Okay.
Probably be 3 weeks.
Yeah.
By the time the ad's given.
So I appreciate your staff's work on this. This is something that's been a concern of mine, and I appreciate the Planning and Zoning Commission's work on this as well. We've given them a lot of things to do, so some things are taking a little bit of time, but they always do come back to us. I mean, this is an issue in the county, and there are people struggling with the fact that they're living in residential neighborhoods without an HOA, and there's now a drug treatment facility next to their house, and it's something that can happen. So my hope was that I think definitions are important, and we're going to define some things. I'm not happy with the fact that nursing homes are listed as drug treatment facilities, because I don't think they are. And I think a lot of people would agree with me, and I don't think assisted living facilities are drug treatment facilities either. I think the federal government, they do make a lot of bad laws. I mean, we all know that. That's not unusual, and that's not uncommon, unfortunately. So we're going into a public hearing phase, I assume, if we vote accordingly. And this may be one of those issues that people want to pay attention to in the county, because it could really affect you. On the issue of HOAs, it was a bit of an education, and where the HOAs come in is where they, I'm going to sort of butcher this, but requiring like single-family occupancies and things like that, or maybe it's related to septic and water or well, but either way, that's sort of how it works, because if you have something other than that, then you don't have a single-family home anymore, and you have multiple people doing so. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, but I do appreciate the Planning and Zoning Commission's work on this. We send things to them for recommendations. They're not an arm of the Carroll County Commissioners. They don't do what we tell them. We ask them to take a look at things and try to make their best judgments. So,
Motion to schedule a public hearing for the above-mentioned text amendments to Chapter 158 of the County Zoning Code.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any further discussion on this?
Thank you for all of your work.
Seeing
Again.
here none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Let's talk about a bid approval and contract for group flexible spending account. an RFP.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
She comes.
Ladies?
Lisa, you can sit.
Oh,
You sit back.
need,
No, you sit here. You help with this. Front.
there you go.
Musical
Yeah, we need Maureen up here to kickstart us.
It's okay. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Department of Human Resources, received proposals for the above service, and that's for the Group Flexible Spending Account Administration. And an evaluation committee was formed to conduct technical and financial review of the proposals submitted. The committee evaluated all proposals and based on the criteria detailed in the proposal. Once this was completed, the committee members came to a consensus and recommended the best value proposal for the work required. The evaluation committee recommends award to Flexible Benefit Administrators Incorporated. And I will turn it over to Robin to tell you more about the project itself.
Good morning. As she stated, the committee was formed to include myself, Lisa Huber, the benefits coordinator, and our consultant, Bolton. We scored the proposals from a technical aspect and then the financial. We're recommending, from the committee standpoint, FBA to be selected as the new administrator based on the best technical interview and overall score. FBA has a strong presence in Maryland, including a lot of Maryland public sector clients, and has a proven track record with those. They also offer a strong approach to customer service, and the references also confirm this. While FBA did not have the lowest administrative costs, there really wasn't much of a difference. We're talking anyway right now, estimating 90 employees are currently enrolled in FSA. It's about $4,000 a year. So it was a little bit like $600 a difference to the second, highest bidder.
So you said your selection committee included a consultant?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the consultant?
Bolton.
Okay. And is Bolton on a term contract or is it on a?
Bolton is a term contractor for consulting.
Bolton is a term contractor.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
We bid out that consultant probably a few years ago. And out of that, we awarded a contract to Bolton to consult on these health-related bids.
So we hired a term contractor to consult on another contract?
Yes.
And this other contract, we're paying how much for FBA?
It's about $4,000 a year based on the current enrollment.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure it makes all sense. It just seems to be pretty complex. You kind of have to follow the wire diagram on how to get to where we are today.
Commissioner, may I speak?
Sure.
I'll just go since it's full up there. So Bolton is our benefits
Who
consultant.
am I talking to?
Christy Bixler, Director of Human Resources. Good morning. So Bolton is our benefits consultant. So they are assisting us in finding a third-party administrator, which is FBA. And this is to administer our flexible spending account programs. So this is very common, and in actuality, we have a bid out right now for a benefits consultant to assist us with looking at our overall benefits package. So their jobs are to look at claims and assist with package design and things like that. And they helped Robin and Lisa go through the bids. So really, they are a benefits consultant looking at the entire benefits package. And then they helped us choose FBA or recommend FBA as the flexible spending account administrator,
And
third party.
And the reason we're outsourcing it is because
The flexible spending or the consulting piece?
The consulting piece.
Right. So Bolton has, they do a lot of consulting with different counties, and they help with looking at overall averages across the state, across the nation, the healthcare trends. They bring the third-party administrators and the providers together. So they are able to kind of play that person that goes, they know the business in and out because they're experienced within the healthcare industry.
For edification, not now, but at some time, understanding what outsourced resources we use in Carroll County, to give myself and colleagues a better understanding as we move forward. And then from that point is understanding the rationale why we have that consultant. And it could be cost, it could be there's some that they don't need full-time employment. It's like, a day or week or 2 days, whatever it may be. But getting that big
So are
picture.
you asking across the, because you're looking at Christie's, but if you're asking across the
I'm asking
organization.
across the county government.
Okay,
Yes.
that we use a lot, because
I understand. I know. I'm looking at you, but this is the catalyst for me asking this question, and it's not just looking at you, but no, I want to see how many, what outsourced resources we use as to supplement our workforce and how it's being used. I mean, it's a big job to do that, but I think it's very important as we move forward in understanding our workforce. So
that's a lot. It will take a good bit of work. Is that something?
Oh, I don't disagree, and I absolutely. I mean, this is not something for me to expect tomorrow, but it's something that will allow us to make better educated decisions as we look at our workforce. So I think there's value in doing this. And with that, Mr. Zaleski walked in to share his insight.
And
Just in case.
and I think, and you kind of said it, but there's different reasons, and maybe we can't find an expert in traffic control, or we haven't been able to hire one, so we need a consultant. In this case, it's because of their expertise nationwide on this type of work, which, and I think it's smart when we recognize we can't be the experts on everything, so sometimes we need to hire one.
Yeah,
But I think it's a good point. It's like you say, it's a lot of them.
Yeah, and those are the reasons, generally speaking. I remember Commissioner Weaver asking one time when DPW staff was, well, why can't we do this in-house? And it was evaluating the roads and doing road surveys and what roads would need to be repaired or paved next. And well, the reason for that is you don't, one, to buy the equipment is expensive, and two, you don't do it all year round. This wouldn't be a 40-hour a week, 52 weeks a year job for anyone. So you hire for a particular need like that. So those are generally the reasons. But if the board's interested, we could put that together.
I think there's value in doing that. This just happens to be a catalyst for me thinking through this. And also, Commissioner Weaver asking that him, he's really old, and I don't know if he even remembers asking that question, but that's a different story for a different time. I think there is value just to understand our workforce better as we make decisions, especially walking into the budget, and there's a lot of work to be done, but the workforce is not made up of only county employees. So who is the, in the military we call it the total army. And the total army is civilians, reservists, National Guard, and active duty. That's the total army, and contractors. So what is the total Carroll County government is a type of a approach. Not thinking that this is going to be an overnight product, but I think it's something, and I know Mr. Zaleski has all the time in the world on his hands and would be able to do it like that, but, you know.
But I don't, so it'll take
Yeah.
me.
So the situation that you just described with Bolton, how many years have we been operating under that particular business model or process, if you will?
So right now, Bolton on the healthcare side of the consulting is not, we use them as needed. We do not have an ongoing regular contract with them. And Robin would have to say how long. I'm going to say at least the past 10 years with
So
Bolton.
The point being,
We
we've
do
been,
have actually, we do have a contract with
Okay.
Bolton, and it's been at least 5 years, because most of our contracts go at least 5 years.
so the,
Before they get rid of it.
so the point being, I want people to understand, this has been going on for a while. I'm relatively new, but previous boards have been operating under this process for quite a while, so I want people to make sure they understand that. And in terms of using consultants, I mean, we are paying money out to a lot of different consultants for other specific things. I think we've got an economic, is it called the economic development study?
Land.
Economic land development. There was a Siegel studies, another one that comes up a lot, approved by previous boards, that costs a lot of money. So if we want to look at all that, I'm all for it,
Well, there's
because it's not cheap. But it's still consultants, and that's what I think we're discussing here.
Okay, so the clarification, because, so do we want all the studies as well as all the consultants that we use?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. No,
That's a different.
my focus was on the workforce itself and how the workforce is augmented and supplemented through, you know, contracted contracts. Contracted individuals. The other piece is not where I was going, but I understand it's understanding contracted studies or consultant studies, which is a ad hoc process. You know, what I'm looking at is what's not ad hoc. What is, you know, the term contracts that are repeated or repetitive over time that do not become ad hoc, as opposed to these other, you know, projects. But that's where I was looking. So.
I mean, for me, I think you both brought up really good points. For me, it comes down to what's more cost effective, to do things in-house or to outsource them. Does it depend on what has to be done? And are we better served, more fiscally sound by outsourcing or staying in-house? So it's a good conversation. I'm looking forward to this information.
I mean, for me, I'm fine with the term contracts, and I understand that. And sometimes it's actually cheaper to go get somebody to do a job like that. I completely understand that, and I've got experience there. I mean, what I'm not as comfortable with are these expensive ad hoc consulting contracts. Those are already happening. So that's that. But I don't necessarily need to see anything right now, but I'm certainly understand if we want to take a look at across the board who's who. But I'm generally comfortable with it.
Motion to award the contract for Group Flexible Spending Account Administration for employees of Carroll County Government to Flexible Benefit Administrators Incorporated.
Second.
I got a motion, I got a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ladies.
They stay.
Two more for us.
Let's talk about group dental benefits, RFP.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Department of Human Resources, received proposals for the above service. An evaluation committee was formed to conduct technical and financial review of the proposals submitted. The committee evaluated all proposals based on the criteria detailed in the proposal. Once this was completed, the committee members came to a consensus and recommend the best value proposal for the work required. The evaluation committee recommends award to Delta Dental.
Yes, the current carrier, Delta, we are provided the most competitive proposal. We will save 6% in the administrative fee in our first year. We also were able to get $1,000 provider recruitment guarantee. Delta will be working with top 50 out-of-network dentists to bring them into our network. They also providing with $2,000 wellness credit. And they just finished realigning provider reimbursement schedules in Pennsylvania, and we'll be doing that in Maryland, so that will also help to attract more out-of-network dentists and build the network. They also provided the advanced dental cost estimator at no cost, and gave us performance guarantees equals to 15% of the administrative fees. So that's where they're providing, how accurate they will process our claims, how quickly turn around processing the claims and all of that. So it was a very competitive bid, and we're pleased to recommend Delta to stay.
Okay.
Motion to award the contract for group dental benefits for employees and retirees of Carroll County government to Delta Dental.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion on this? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to hit?
Moving up to the big kids table.
Okay, let's talk about approval of rates establishing the calendar year 2024 health and dental insurance employee contribution rates.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. So with me today, as mentioned earlier, is Robin Hooper, our HR Manager, and Lisa Huber, our Health Benefits Coordinator. So Robin's going to go through some information. The purpose of the presentation is to share with you the 2024 health and dental insurance rates for our employees. My first time around with this, so happy to answer any questions I can try to, and Robin and Lisa have been through it before, so I'm going to turn it over to Robin.
Thank you. Yes, good morning again. This is the time of year where we come before you to set the next year contribution rates. As a reminder, Carroll County government, we are self-insured for both health and dental benefits. This means that the county pays the cost of the actual claim, minus any discounts provided by using a network provider. Plus, we pay the administrative fee to a third party for access to their network and to process our claims. We also pay an administrative fee for our individual stop-loss coverage, which is currently at $450,000. So in order to determine the next year's premium equivalent rates, we use the administrative costs provided by our third-party administrators, as well as we analyze the actual claims experience, take into consideration growth trends, and obviously the level of the individual stop-loss. Based on the historical trends that we're seeing, the public sector experience, we're assuming an annual trend of 6% medical and 10% prescription, which basically our total health claims are only increasing 6.5%, or approximately 1.5 million. So we're actually below sort of like that public sector experience. Our third-party administrative fee is again staying the same as 2023. And our individual stop-loss coverage, we're only seeing a 3.5% increase. So with that, this is our recommendation for the health, which includes medical, prescription, and vision. The choice plan, the employee contributes 8% of the premium equivalent, and the choice plus is the employee contributes 11% of the premium equivalent. So it's a very small increase. Again, it's only 6.5% to the employee. And if you have any questions, or we can go to the
How
dental.
much? It looks like the choice plan, it's about 7% increase to employees. Is that about what the benefits went up?
Yes, so the increase in the employee contribution was approximately 7%. So what we worked with Bolton on was getting our claims over the past 24 months, taking a look at them and determining how we expected them to increase over the next 12 months to come up with these premium equivalent rates, and then they filter down in the contributions. So the employee contributions are 8% of the premium equivalent rate, and that is approximately a 7% increase from last year, because it does build in the vision cost as well. So that's looking at all claims for medical, prescription, and vision.
And the county is somewhat self-covered on this?
We are self-insured.
Does that stay, how consistent does that stay? Does that really jump back and forth, or does it stay fairly consistent with the number of employees we have?
As far as the premium equivalent and what we expect the costs, so we looked back at the past 4 or 5 years as we've gone through COVID. When we were in 2019, 20, 21, there was really not a significant increase in the healthcare claims. You would think otherwise, but people were putting off those routine visits, the elective surgeries, things like that. So last year, premium equivalent increased somewhere around 11%. But there had not been a significant increase in the prior 3 to 4 years. So this 7% increase is really what I've seen out as far as what is expected as healthcare trends in the overall industry. We have a very rich plan here at Carroll County, which I think is one of our best benefits to be able to offer employees. So a 7% increase I think is very reasonable. And a lot of that is attributed to the employees who are using generic drugs, who are using our mail order program, who are, visiting doctor, using the urgent care instead of the emergency room, which is more costly because as self-insured, we are paying that full cost of the claim.
So this didn't go up just because they elected one older commissioner. It's not.
No, it has nothing to do with you.
It's okay, you're offset by a younger one.
Yeah, not that we could pinpoint anyway, yeah. Any other questions on the health, the medical and prescription piece of it? Okay, then we'll move on to dental.
Okay. The anticipated claim admin costs are projected to be 8% more. We're seeing a 4% kind of increase currently in 2023 over budget. And then we always anticipate an annual kind of trend of 4%. So with that, it's close to an 8% increase in the employee contributions. I also want to point out, when we did the dental bid, we put out the regular basic plan that we have currently, but we also asked for an enhanced plan. The difference is the annual maximum, instead of being $1,500, will be $2,000. And also in the enhanced plan, you have adult orthodontics as well as children up to age of 19 for an annual maximum of $3,000 instead of the $1,500 under the current basic plan. The county is only going to contribute the same, so if you enroll in the enhanced PPO plan, the county is still going to contribute the same as if you enrolled in the basic PPO plan. So the idea is that if the employee wants to go into that plan, that they will be paying for that. And the rates that you see here are based on the anticipated 20% enrolled in the enhanced plan. The rates are also 30% above the basic PPO plan.
So this was just something we had heard from employees, different options on the dental program. So when we went out to bid, we asked for that to come in as part of the bid. What other programs can you offer to the employees? So the anticipated enrollment, we're not sure where that's going to come out. When we do open enrollment, employees will have the choice. But we felt that giving them another choice if they were looking for a higher benefit. Obviously, the rates are better because we have a group plan, so they could not go out and get that enhanced plan at the rates that we're willing to offer them, even though they're paying the full cost of that. So again, this is all part of the bigger picture in that we want to look at the entire comprehensive benefit package that we offer, and what type of plans are we offering? Are our copays in line? Are our deductibles in line? Things like that. So this is just the first step in that process.
Okay.
And again, a great benefit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
Huge. Any questions on this? Okay.
We just have one more slide that we want to put out there.
Sure.
Yes, just so after you approve the recommended rates, our next steps will be open enrollment, getting the packets out. So the open enrollment will begin October 13th through November 17th, and then we have our Wellness Expo October 18th at the Shipley Arena, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So we're very excited for that.
Where I get my toothbrush. No, I'm kidding.
Actually, there's some exciting things at the Wellness Expo this year. You'll want to come and make sure that you explore the Mega Colon, the Mega Lung, and the Mega Breast. They are things that our team has brought forward as educating employees on how important it is to take care of those vital organs, and what you can do to make sure that you're getting your regular checkups. And that's our whole purpose of the expo, is to educate the employees on how to become healthier, which in turn helps us with these rates. So
Thank God it's not Men's Health Month.
you're right.
You really want to go there?
No.
Serious.
I don't want him to stop. Just stop him now.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's get this.
So Tim's mega concerned. I mean,
Motion to approve the employee contribution rates for health and dental insurance as recommended by Human Resources.
I got a motion and second. Thank goodness, no discussion on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Let's get this. Let's
Thank
get this.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of
Get
the
you
day.
guys out of here before
Before it goes
regret it,
downhill.
Yes.
We have to arrest Tim right here in front of him.
It's already went downhill.
It's amazing how many shades of red Tim can have like that. Let's talk about Enterprise Resource Planning System, ERP.
I don't know how we follow with that.
You don't want to.
just tell us there's mega savings. You'll be fine.
How about mega excited?
There you go.
Good morning.
I don't think I can read. The Department of the Comptroller was before the board in March of this year and received approval to pursue the purchase of an ERP system. Now the Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Department of the Comptroller, are requesting your approval to award a contract to Tyler Technologies Incorporated for the purchase of a financial ERP system that will centralize data, simplify processes, eliminate duplicate data entry, and connect county agencies. This purchase is through a Sourcewell contract, which was competitively bid. There will be a one-time fee of $850,000 for the system implementation. This will be paid as each module of the system is implemented. Once the entire system is fully operational, software contract will be a 3-year contract at $580,000 annually. This amount is approved in the budget and no additional funds should be required. And I'll turn it over to Jenny to go over the ERP system.
Sure. So I know if you remember, we were here a few months ago. It feels like only yesterday, but it's been several months since budget process. So just a refresher, we are currently working on aging systems, the legacy system, which is from the 80s, in collections, as well as our utilities billing system. And we're also using, it's called FMS, which is our financial management system, which was implemented in 1999. Again, it doesn't seem like it's that long ago, but it is going on 23 years. So refresh some of the issues that we are having are that employees are currently doing a lot of manual processes, which is costing time. Collections routinely receives complaints. Taxpayers in this day and age, we want to go electronic and we want to be able to pay different ways, and currently we aren't able to accept them, so we're trying to help give advantages to the taxpayers. And then, of course, the influx of grants. That has been a major problem with our system. You know, we don't track them the way that, we do track them, I don't want to say that, but we aren't able to track them as efficiently. Across the county, staff are using Excel and different methods and stuff. This would allow us to incorporate all of that into one system. So, of course, staff are frustrated, burned out, and it's a challenge with new staff coming in to be able to train them. So we've said the solution is to get a new ERP system. I will say that we have reached out. The company Tyler is in 15 counties in the state of Maryland, so they're pretty well known. They only do government software. They don't do private industry, so they're used to all of the government things. Brian Bokey's up here with me because we did research. We went out, of course, we don't make decisions without research. We went to Frederick County to see their system.
and our cheering squad in the back here, a few of them went with us to see the collection system. There was actually a employee that was a cashier that had worked on the current system we have, and now she's working on this Tyler, and she said you will be thrilled the change. So I don't know, Brian's here because we will be doing the utilities billing as well, so if there's something you want to add.
Sure, yeah, we're in full support of rolling out with Tyler. Like Jenny said, we made a trip to one of our neighboring counties. They're using it. We saw the interface. We heard some pros and cons. I'll be honest, there were some things that, we'll have to change and get used to, but I think that's something us as a department are prepared for, and the pros definitely outweigh the cons with switching over to the system. One example would just be the citizen notification. They can go online, pay their bill, and we can put notes in there. We can put notes about water boil or upcoming projects that may affect their service or flushing lines. So just that alone is something that we've been, putting stamps on letters and putting them in the mail, which costs, a couple $1,000s each time we do that. So we're looking forward to that. And just the hardware end of it, we've been preparing for this for the last couple years. We installed new meters that can be read remotely, and we'll be able to access that data real time with this system.
Cool. Motion to approve the contract award of an ERP system to Tyler Technologies Incorporated for a cost of $1,430,000.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any discussion on this?
Not discussion. I do have a couple comments I wanted to make real quick. So when you say partial payments on their water bill or taxes, is that quarterly? Would that be biannual? What kind of a scenario does that offer the public, just out of curiosity?
So right now we bill quarterly, and I would say that they would be able to go in and put whatever they feel comfortable with towards a bill within the due date. So whatever they're comfortable, I wouldn't go past the due date because then that runs into issues, but maybe they want to break it down into 3-week payments or whatever up until the due date. That's what it would really be allowing them to do, and us tracking it. Right now they have to pay the whole amount at one time.
Sure. And then one other just quick question. I'm sure I may know the answer, but just wanted to confirm this. So the $850 for the implementation, and then it's $580,000 annually. So we'd be looking, say, with implementation in the 3 years, it goes to $2,590,000 over those 3 years. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do we know of any additional costs after that 3 years? Is there any other system implementation we'd be worrying about? I know there's a lot more these days of subscription-based and everything else.
So we would be coming back to renew that subscription. That 580 is an annual subscription. So they would have to renew that annually. And then of course there is going to be, if we choose to do other things, they have a whole list of things if we get into this and we say, oh, it would really be nice to do that down the road, not with this part right now. And that, of course, would be your decision if we wanted to do.
Gotcha. And then just out of curiosity, how quick could we implement this for like water bills and taxes? I'm just curious because I know people are always asking about those.
So I actually brought the Tyler, what they've kind of said. It might be a little fast for us. Right now, we're saying July 24.
Okay.
We would like to go live with the tax billing, and utilities might be a little bit of a lag because that's going to be a lot for one area to do. But our goal is to have all of it online and available by January of 25. And then they're seeing the whole financial system by July of 25.
Gotcha.
Might be a little aggressive on the latter, but I'm willing to push through. So.
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And I just want to comment, the partial payments, that's all customizable. We can program that however we want to. We can set the minimum to, say, $20, and we can, we don't want them going in every single day and paying $3, $5.
No, I
so
get that.
all of that is customizable, and we can set that up with Tyler.
If they want to do monthly payments versus...
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that's great.
They can also do prepayments too.
Okay.
Frederick actually had, I believe they said about 400 citizens that were prepaying in like July or June and May, and so their property taxes, so that when they came into July when they did their billing, they already had a credit to put.
Nice.
So.
Okay, I have a motion. Did I get a second?
Yes.
Okay, is there any further discussion on this? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you. You guys seem excited about this.
Just a little. Ms. Carroll, why don't you come on up here? Let's talk about purchasing a port-in-place playground surfacing maintenance.
That must be nice.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
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 The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Department of Recreation and Parks, requests your approval to award Game Time care of Cunningham Recreation to perform maintenance on playground equipment and surfacing to 9 playgrounds throughout the county in the amount of $56,513. This work is being performed through an Omnia Partners contract that was competitively bid. This amount is within the fiscal year 24 budget, and no additional funds should be necessary.
All right, so this project is really a preventative maintenance project for the pour and play surfaces that we have in our parks. The UV light, the sunlight, debris from mowing, nuts, whatever may be left behind from a child playing, really deteriorates the surface. If a hole develops and kids start digging at it and playing with it and it increases, it's very costly just to do a small repair. This would allow the longevity of the pour and play surface to have a longer life shelf than it would if we didn't do that. Once this process is completed, then internally we would be able to do the maintenance on this once the surface is covered and it's rolled down and adhered.
The 9 playgrounds, how many playgrounds do we have in the county?
That's a very good question, and I don't know the answer to that. I can find out for you, but I can tell you that these 9 playgrounds are in 7 different parks that we're looking at right now. We, unfortunately, these parks aren't staffed, so we don't have maintenance staff that's going out there on a regular basis able to blow off or do daily preventative maintenance for the community parks, like we have at Hoshawa, Bear Branch Nature Center, or the Piney Run Park.
Okay.
Now, these top coats, and I know that this one isn't yours, but I was at the dedication for Hampstead's, and it looked like there were some smooth surfaces, flexible, that were wheelchair accessible and all that.
Absolutely.
Is that what this surface is?
Yes, it is. So we no longer have to, for the playgrounds that have this type of surface, mulching isn't required yearly to go in and keep that at the safe level for play. So yes, it is and it's kind of spongy if you've walked on it. It has a little bit of give, and if somebody happens to fall.
Okay, thanks.
This surfacing will also revitalize the look of the current surface and bring it a little bit more lively after it's applied.
And how long does it typically last when you, like one surfacing, how long does that last?
I'm not 100% sure on that answer. I think I've read about 10 years. We have the tot lots are on a 20-year cycle for replacement. So we would be looking to replace our playgrounds every 20 years on a rotating basis.
Thank you.
And I can tell you that the tot lots, an estimate just for the pour and play surface itself is about $50,000 for the typical size that we put in for the county.
Okay.
Excuse me. So this is for 9 playgrounds. So to answer your question, Commissioner Rothstein, we have 18 total.
Okay.
So it's half.
Okay.
Motion to approve the repairs and maintenance work at 9 county playgrounds to Game Time care of Cunningham Recreation in the amount of $56,513.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any discussion on this? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Ryan,
appreciate your time.
You have the opportunity to move one seat over
I will.
before Reed gets here, so it's up
All
to
right.
you.
So you don't kick me over?
No, I'm just saying, you were caught off guard by going in the middle.
I was.
I know. Okay. Okay, let's talk about a few purchases. that are being requested. The first is the Raptor RP TAC-1 radar units.
All right. Carroll County Bureau of Fleet Management solicited a quotation from Custom Signals Incorporated, a single-source vendor, to purchase 20 Raptor RP-1 radar units for new sheriff's vehicles at a cost of $37,800. The cost covers radar units, antennas, cable, and carrying cases, along with the shipping. These monies have been approved in the fiscal year 24 budget, and no additional funds should be needed.
So these are the radar units that the sheriff uses in his patrol vehicles. The 20 that we're looking to replace will be sold through auction upon arrival of the new units, which is expected to take about 2 months.
And I was told that the radar does not work on the Infinity G37, correct? Just, okay.
Heard it was
You
double.
can make anything work.
Okay.
Motion to award the purchase of 20 radar units to Custom Signals in the total amount of $37,800.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's talk about some Ford F-Series trucks.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Fleet Management and Warehouse Operations, requests your approval to purchase 7 2024 Ford F-Series trucks from Apple Ford in the amount of $567,300.54. This purchase will be made from the Baltimore County contract that Carroll County will utilize. This amount is within the fiscal year 24 approved budget, and no additional funds should be necessary.
And these 7 trucks will replace 7 H trucks in the fleets of facilities, roads operations, and rec and parks. Every unit being requested will be equipped with the front snow plow and safety lights. 3 of the trucks are pickup trucks, 3 utility body trucks, and 1 dump truck. The new units are expected to take 6 to 9 months to receive, and the existing units will be sold through auction.
6 to 9 months.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Motion to approve the purchase of 7 2024 Ford F-Series trucks from Apple Ford in the amount of $567,300.54.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Let's talk about the John Deere 850 Lima crawler dozer.
All right. The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with the Bureau of Fleet Management and Warehouse Operations, requests your approval to purchase 1 John Deere 850L crawler dozer from Jesco Incorporated in the amount of $497,000. Jesco has been awarded Maryland blanket purchase order. This purchase will be made using a Sourcewell contract, which was awarded to John Deere Company, which Jesco is an authorized dealer. This amount is within the fiscal year 24 budget, and no additional funds should be necessary.
Pictured is the current dozer. It's a 2009 unit. It is used at the Northern Landfill by the Bureau of Solid Waste. It has nearly 13,000 hours, which is pretty significant. The new dozer is expected to take about 6 months to receive, at which time this dozer will be auctioned.
Oh.
Motion to approve the purchase of 1 John Deere 850L crawler dozer from Jesco Incorporated in the amount of $497,000.
Second.
Got a motion, second. Any discussion on this one? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about GIS software maintenance and support.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
The Office of Procurement, in cooperation with Technology Services, requests your approval to award the purchase for the renewal of ESRI software maintenance to ESRI Incorporated in the amount of $64,570,000. The purchase amount is within the adopted budget, and no additional funds will be necessary.
And we actually pronounce it ESRI, is how we say it. Basically, it's the geographic information software that the county uses. Not only is it used by a number of agencies and departments to do the mapping, but it is also available to the citizens out on the web if they want to go out and look up various things, do things with maps and all. And I have with me here today Mr. Tom Dowd, who is the GIS manager for my area, if you have any additional questions.
It's really useful software.
Pardon me?
It's a really useful software, really useful program.
Right. And we're doing a lot with it. Some of the things that have been done in the past is, they have to do those counts for the homeless and all throughout the year. It's been used for that. It's been used in public safety emergencies. So it does get used more than just on a regular day-to-day basis for planning.
Motion to approve the purchase for the renewal of Esri software and maintenance to Esri Incorporated in the amount of $64,570.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Did you second that? No?
No, I don't know who did.
Okay, that's right.
Second, though.
We got a couple seconds over here. You want a second? Any discussion?
Oh, it was you.
All in
It
favor?
was me. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
That's almost like a pocket dial, right?
Commissioner, there was there was music playing
playing.
somewhere,
Yes, there
right?
was.
We couldn't figure out where it was from. It's from the technology guy.
Yeah.
So my senior year in high school, one of my buddies and I are walking back from the cafeteria, and we're walking down the hallway and we start hearing music. We can't quite figure out where it's coming from. And so our math teacher comes out in the hallway. She's like, "Joe, you're late to class. Let's go." Right? And we're like, "But don't you hear this? There's this music coming from somewhere, right?" And so we're moving around, and the teacher says, "I think it's coming from one of the lockers. I think somebody left like their headset on or something." So we spent like 10 minutes like listening to lockers trying to figure out where it was, and finally the teacher's like, "All right, that's it, we're going to go into class. I really do have to start class." And as we go to head into the classroom, we see that my buddy's earphones are hanging out of his backpack and they're going, and that was what we heard.
Well, a couple things. One, I'm glad you shared the story, and two, I'm just glad you had the confidence and willingness to share that story. But until rudely interrupted in taking this motion on, any further discussion that is pertinent to this? Seeing here none, all in favor? Aye. Okay.
It was
now
materially
let's have
relevant.
a briefing discussion from Commissioner Vigliotti on headsets. No, on status of broadband internet service expansion in Carroll County.
Yes. Jay's going to give you all a little handout here before we
How
begin.
you doing? Good to see you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
Are you going to sit back there, or are you going to come up here?
I'll sit here.
You'll
you
stay
very
back
much.
there? Okay.
I'll stay right here.
Okay.
So, and you can just work the monitor, and
Where's my presentation?
it should be right on the screen. Just minimize that. And
There we go. Okay.
there you go. Morning, Commissioners. We are here before you to give you an update, as you've asked, on where we stand with broadband in Carroll County. You all know me as the Director of Technology Services. I have with me today Mr. Jay Ubel, who is the Broadband Project Manager. He's been with us since December of last year and has been extremely efficient and effective in a lot of things. He's been recognized by both the Maryland Association of Counties and the National Association of Counties for some of the things that he's done with mapping, and we're here today to give you an update on where we are. So I'll let Jay take over.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, Commissioners. Lots taken place since all of us started last December, I think, on the first day, same day. There are currently 65,000 homes in Carroll County built out in Carroll County. There's an estimated unserved and underserved homes of approximately 6,000 plus homes that are currently unserved, where 9% of the county right now is roughly considered unserved. Approximately 3,000 of these homes are covered today by grants that have already been awarded but not built out at this time.
Can I ask questions as you move along?
Sure,
So-
please do.
So how do you define underserved? Unserved is pretty straightforward, but how do you define underserved?
Underserved is defined by the FCC actually as any household less than 25 megahertz download speeds by 5 megahertz upload speeds.
So in layman's terms,
Okay,
what does
so
that mean to me
what does that
at
mean?
home?
So typically anybody with Comcast is going to have between 25 and 1 gig download speeds. So the lower plans being 25, the higher plans being 1 gig. Okay.
Okay.
We as a county are trying to get everybody towards the 1 gig plan. And I don't want to deviate too far from this, but what we would like to see is 100 by 20 as a minimum for everybody in the county.
Now, does anybody do dial-up anymore? And
No,
that would be...
they do something called DSL, which is not dial-up, but it does use copper lines.
And
It's very slow.
DSL or satellite, they're the slower speeds probably.
Yes, yes, they're the slowest speeds, plus a technology called Wi-Fi, which is wireless, basically wireless internet over terrestrial internet service. There's a couple of businesses in the counties that provide that.
So, one more time, the county standard is what?
Well, the FCC standard is 25 down by 5 up is considered, anything below that is considered underserved.
So you're saying that 59,000
I'm saying
are standard?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
59,000 are meeting the FCC standards
Yes.
within Carroll County?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And Commissioner, most of them are probably exceeding those standards with Quantum and Comcast and all. Their speeds to the residents are generally a lot higher than the 25.3 that are there.
Okay. You know, I understand. I'm trying to capture, okay, and yeah, I know you're going to go into the details and the mapping and stuff.
Yep.
But we are really focusing now on that 9%, on that 6,000.
Yes.
And we're putting all our eggs in the basket on how
Yes.
to achieve that 25.5 to the 9,000.
Exactly. We're not right now concentrating on bringing in competition, or I shouldn't say, we're not concentrating on funding competition at this point, nor is the federal government or the state of Maryland. So everything is around trying to get all the unserved served at this point.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so some of the current active grants that we have in place now, construction for all the currently granted areas is to be completed by 2026, the end of 2026. Okay, something interesting that we all found out and we were surprised about is Carroll has received so far approximately $36 million in grant money from federal and state government. That is the highest in any county in the state. So we're all surprised to see that show up. A couple grants that have taken place so far. Comcast was awarded one of the first grants called the Neighborhood Connect Grant. That build-out was completed in June of '23, June of this year. It included 36 homes on Halter Road and 53 homes on Garrett Road. That system's up and running and completed. Okay, so now the next largest provider to win awards in Carroll County was Quantum. They were granted 4 awards. The first being the Sullivan Road project, which is 80 homes in the Sullivan Road area. It's not just Sullivan Road, but it covers other areas, and I'll show you on the maps later what it covers. This is slated to be completed by December of this year. Quantum was granted a 1-year extension on this project. The project is currently under construction and ahead of schedule. They plan to have a functional network with first customers online by the end of this month, by the end of September. We are also project managing or keep status updates with Quantum on all their projects on a monthly basis. So the next grant that Quantum was granted was called the Neighborhood Connect Grant. It is to connect Mid-Carroll, as we call it, and it also has a completion date of the end of this year, December of '23. It covers Broadback Road, Gablehammer Road, Gorsuch Road, Huffman Mill Road, Shiloh Road, and consists of about 119 homes. It is in the construction phase. Construction is expected to be started by the end of September, with first customers to start being turned up by mid-October. Okay.
When you say, I apologize, when you say connected, are you saying to point of presence at the driveway or point of presence to the house?
To the house, to active internet to the house.
And those grants are funding all the way to the house, or is it incumbent on the owner?
These are funded all the way to the house. These current grants are funded all the way to the house. Now, there may be, that is what is in the grant language. Oh.
Yeah.
Now, not all of these may be connected at a time because some of these customers may not decide to connect until later.
Sure.
So, but the network will be built out and in a position to be able to be.
I mean, it's the quarter mile, half mile, road
That is another problem
driveway.
which I'll address shortly.
to the house.
Okay. So the order for Neighborhood Connect is Shiloh Road, Gorsuch, Broadbeck, and then Gablehammer and Hoffman Mill to be determined later. But that should come up, that should start having customers by October. Okay. Now the big grants that Quantum has is the Network Infrastructure 22 and the Network Infrastructure 23 grants. Okay, Network Infrastructure 22, or we call it NIG 22, is West Carroll. Completion date for this is expected to be 2025. It covers 1,000 or 1,200 homes, roughly, and covers the area of Tawnytown, New Windsor, and Union Bridge. It is currently in its engineering and network design phase. So construction hasn't started yet. The next grant is the Network Infrastructure 23, which is expansion of West Carroll plus some other areas throughout the county, which I'll show you on the mapping later. It's expected, it has a completion date of 2026, December of 2026. Okay. Some of the 23 will also be built out in conjunction with the 22 award, because some of them back up to each other. Some of the areas for 23 back up to 22. Okay, so what's next for grant-wise in broadband? And this is throughout the country now. The federal government came up with a program called the Broadband Equity Access Deployment Grant, or the BEAD grant. Okay, this is basically all the buzz in the broadband world right now. It's a $42 billion program that is distributed among the states. It's based on the number of unserved households in the country. The state of Maryland was awarded $267.7 million based on the number of unserved houses in the state of Maryland. Okay, so what's taking place now? What's the status of this grant? Okay, so the states are required to submit an initial plan by the end of December of this year. Okay, now that plan will present to the FCC or the NTIA the number of homes that are unserved in each of the counties in Maryland. We'll also come up with a plan as to how the money will be distributed, and another process called the challenge process, because the state is required to create a challenge process. Now the good news about this is only the counties and service providers are allowed to submit challenges to the state. Okay, again, these challenges are going to the state, not directly to the FCC. Now, the good news about it coming through the county is that, say, our average homeowner says, I don't have service. Instead of them going directly to the state of Maryland, they have to funnel those requests through us. The thing about that is that allows us to understand more about what's taking place in our county and make sure we're not missing anybody.
And Jay, if I could just for a second to make sure everybody's clear about what a challenge is. A challenge is when one of the federal governments or state agencies comes out and says you do or do not have access to internet based on the current maps that they have. That individual has a right to challenge that. You told me I have Comcast. Comcast is telling me they do not provide service in my area. So then that changes the way that particular map looks.
Okay, so after completion, what happens after that is completion of the challenge process. The providers will be allowed to submit proposals for funding to the state. The state will then send a formal proposal to NTIA or the FCC for approval. Grant awards are expected to be started by sometime in 2026. Now, this is not a short-term quick fix. So I suspect that this is going to carry on for the rest of this decade before everything's built out. Okay. So one of the good things and part of the state's initial proposal is the states are going to bundle together areas rather than let providers pick their own areas. What this avoids is what we call orphaned homes. What happens is, what's happening now, what's happened in previous grants, is that provider will pick this group of homes that it's fairly easy to get to, and then you got this one house up here in the big hill with the long driveway that they don't want to fund. So in this case, the providers will not get an opportunity to do that. They will have awarded grants based on what the state of Maryland has said. You can pick these areas and give us proposals on those. So that's a good thing. We don't know at this point how much Carroll County is going to get, or each of the counties in Maryland are going to get at this point. I suspect we'll get a good chunk. The amounts are going to be based on unserved or underserved homes, or actually unserved homes at this point, and underserved homes if there's money left over, which there should be.
So anything less than 250 million, you fail.
Less than two. Yeah, somewhere under 200. Yeah. Yep. The good thing about this is the state of Maryland is very much involving the counties in this whole process, unlike some other states in the country where they're just dictating everything to you. We have a very good Office of Broadband Management in the state that very active and pick up the phone and can say, hey, what's going on here? And they will respond back to us. They are listening to us. So the number of unserved, this is where it becomes, our mapping work becomes very important, is the number of unserved homes is based on the new FCC broadband map version 3. And only homes that are on that map considered unserved will be eligible for money. So it's our duty, our job to make sure that we get all the unserved homes in the county back to the FCC in the state of Maryland, telling them that these are not on your map, but they're on ours. Okay. So that said, we're proactively sending our results to the state and filing challenges to the FCC map. And again, a challenge says the FCC says this house does not exist, does not need service. And we say, oh yeah, it does exist. You don't have it on your maps, and it does not have service. Okay, what are some of the upcoming opportunities that we have available in coming to the county and actually the state? It's and this will, Commissioner Rothstein, this will answer your question about the long driveway.
Yeah.
The state is presenting a long driveway or hard to connect program. I affectionately call it the Connect to the Barn program grant. It's going to be a $1 million grant that each of the counties will be given. Definitely not enough money to serve the whole county. This is supposed to be announced sometime in September. I'm suspecting the end of September now. The money will flow through and be administered by the counties. So again, the rules and regulations have not been announced, but it appears the counties will have some ability to come up with some flexibility to come up with the rules and regulations. And all of the counties in the state of Maryland, or not all of them, a lot of counties in the state of Maryland are getting together to work on what we think as a plan to administer all this.
And Commissioner, this is one of the program that we're hoping will be able to, because wireless will meet the speed requirements, that they will be able to use wireless shots to those. And we've got the ability, a resident can basically spend $600 to get the set up in their location, as long as they've got some open area on their roof or in their yard or wherever the case might be. And that is what this program will hopefully sit. And that helps extend the money. If we don't have to build that quarter-mile fiber back to somebody's location, then it will help us increase the number of people that will be able to do that. But like Jay said, we're still waiting for all the details on how they're going to want us to administer it.
Yeah, and we've been waiting on this for a while, so we're expecting to come out in September. Okay, the next project that we have going on is the Carroll County Connect Carroll RFP that's due to come out any day now. This RFP is using $4 million of fiscal recovery funds that you guys previously approved. It's in purchasing now, getting all the rest of the language wrapped around it to be put up on the webpage. It should be coming out hopefully next week. There is, the providers must provide a 25% minimum match to the funds. We're hoping they'll provide more. The objective of this grant is to try to connect as many homes as we can with the money that we have. So it's not necessarily try to get the long driveways done, but try to connect as many homes as we can. The balance of that, the homes that are unserved, will be covered by the BEAD grant. So basically, that's the plan. The state just announced, and unfortunately, I didn't find out until Friday of last week, and they've given us a short fuse on this, is a program called the FY23 Connected Devices Program. And this program is to provide Chromebooks to low-income residents. The county, and Mark and I had a conversation about this, so this is still really fresh, and hopefully we can pull this off. But the county, in conjunction with the Carroll County Tech Council, a number of nonprofit agencies, and some of the agencies within the county are working together to try to figure out how many residents may need these Chromebooks, and how we will then distribute the Chromebooks throughout the county.
You're also going to be reaching out to workforce development and the
Yes.
senior centers and
Workforce
Carroll
Development,
Tech Council,
And
yeah,
more.
all of those agencies are on board.
Yep.
I appreciate you gentlemen bringing that up. That was actually a conversation I had Saturday at the back to school event with the Tech Council. So
I heard about that, yes. So we, like I said, we have a short fuse on this, and it's going to be, we're working directly with Carroll County Tech Council to pull this together. The thing about this program is it does have to come through the county. But then we can distribute the Chromebooks out to all the other agencies, and they can deal with the distribution. Okay. Unlike past programs, the residents get to keep these Chromebooks. They don't have to give them back. We don't have to keep track of them after that. And as I said, applications due September 18th. Okay, this is where I get to brag a little bit, some accomplishments. When I came on board, I noticed that the county's website had no information about broadband, residential broadband on the webpage to inform the residents about what was taking place. Everybody was saying, what's going on with Carroll County? We don't know anything. They're not doing anything, which is far from the truth. The county has done a lot in the last several years. So along with the team of Chris and Chris, our webpage now has a section in it that has a lot of information and resources for broadband in the county. We keep it up to date as to what's going on within what's taking place as things progress. Okay. The other big important project that I came on board that I discovered that I needed to do was to map broadband in the county. Let's figure out who has it, who doesn't have it, and who's slated to get it. This information, we're working with GIS now, Tom's group, to get this information on the web page so that residents can go and look where their house is and see what the status of their broadband is when it's supposed to come to them. In conjunction with the web page, we created a survey to understand what's taking place within the county. Yes, that's
The card we handed out.
card that we handed out to you. To date, and I'm really happy with this response, we've had more than 400 responses to the survey. The survey went out as a press release the same week as MACO, so it hasn't really been that long. The Carroll County Times then quickly picked it up as a front page article. I've also heard that some other it's being printed in some other newspapers around the county, some of the local newspapers. We did create a rack card, as you saw. This rack card is going to be distributed throughout the counties, libraries, school system, and some private businesses and so on. So what's the whole goal for this survey? These results will be used to verify, graphed and used to verify the maps that we have, We'll use the data to understand the type of service that residents currently have and the experience they're having with their providers. We will also use it to try to discover long driveways. Trying to find long driveways is a little bit more difficult than it sounds. And then we'll also use it for any new providers that want to come in. They want to understand what is the state of broadband in Carroll County. We do get requests from other providers throughout the state to talk to us about bringing broadband to the county.
Jay, you mentioned the surveys going out.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way that we can team up, I guess will be the word I'll use, with Carroll County Public Schools to push those out?
Yes, we are.
Okay, perfect.
Yep,
Okay.
we've been in contact with them, and that there's going to be a stack of brochures to go out to them.
And one of the nice things about this is that when people use this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they can actually test the speeds
Yes.
that they have currently at their house if they have internet access, so they can tell exactly where they are on that scale. At managerial meeting yesterday, I talked a little bit about this, and people said, well, how should my speed be? Generally, whatever your service provider is telling you your speed should be, you should generally be hitting between 80 and 90% of it. Very seldom will you actually hit 100% of the speed that you give. But if you're determining that you're lower than that, then you may want to have a conversation about them. It could be an equipment problem, a cabling problem, or whatever the case might be. But you should be at about 80 to 90% of what they're telling you should be able to hit. And this will help people do that.
Yeah, the surveys also caused my phone to blow up. Sometimes even about midnight, which is really good because then I get to discuss with the homeowners what their options are and what's taking place, and I get a better feel for what's going on. So it's been a good thing all around. Okay, so this is where I get to brag some. I was appointed by MACO to be Maryland's representative to the NACO Telecommunications and Technology Legislative Steering Committee. I did this year put some policy together for the steering committee that was approved based on some information one of our providers provided to us about the B grant. I was also asked to present at two sessions at NACO, the mapping that we have done and how I've did it in the county here. And I've gotten several other counties to call me. This is one I'm proud of. I got the mayor of Palm Beach County, Florida, call me and ask me to talk to their IT staff as to how I came up with the numbers that I came up with.
Well, better than that, you should have wangled a trip to Palm Beach.
Well, that's what I said. I said, hey, don't you need a consultant to come down here? He said, wait till the fall.
We did send him out to Texas for NACO.
Yeah, right in the middle of 103-degree weather. Thank you very much. So one of the organizations we are also part of, and the county has been part of it for a while, is an organization called NATOA, or in their local chapter of CAPITOA, which is the Capital Area Telecommunications Officers and Administrators. This is a very valuable organization. This organization consists of counties throughout, county broadband administrators and cable administrators throughout Maryland, Northern Virginia, and DC. We meet monthly to discuss issues around cable TV and broadband. This is both locally and nationally. There is a lot of information that goes back and forth between all of us with this. We even have some lawyers that represent broadband and cable administration that are on there that advise us on a regular basis. And the most important part of this is that I got thrown under the bus and made president of Capitola for this year. One of the reasons I decided that this was a good idea is that I meet monthly with the rest of the presidents throughout the country to understand what's taking place in broadband out in the rest of the country. So it helps me to stay up to date with what's happening.
And one other thing there, Commissioners, Jay has developed a really good working relationship with Ms. Carol Shalver, who is the county administrator for the cable contract. They've been working very well together. When any of you have ever sent us an email and say, hey, this person's questioning about service, Jay has been working with her very, very well. So it's good. And Carol is also a voice for us because she knows what Jay's doing and what Jay's working on. So she'll be able to convey that to the residents as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, Carol is also on the Capitola meetings with me, too.
Capitola. Does anybody ever make any references to Krakatoa?
No, that's a good one, though. I have to use that. You're full of them today, aren't you, Commissioner?
It seems to be a good day, yeah.
Look at the look.
It's this end of the room with the good sense of humor. I don't know what's going on over
keep
here.
walking out that end. Keep going.
Thank you. Okay, so some alternatives to broadband. I'm happy to announce, finally, Antietam Cable is building to municipalities within the county. They're overbuilding in all the cities within the county. Now, we've met with them several times, and we meet with them regularly to understand the plan that they're doing and what's taking place, and help them, overcome any objections, any issues that they might have. They also plan, I met with them last week, they plan to expand outside of the county, outside of the cities to the whole county. I talked with them to understand what their plan is, basically going forward. They are currently in negotiations to rent office space in the county for their head end, and it's going to be, let's see where we are, down that way, down 140, not too far from here. They will also be leasing and paying for county fiber, the county public network, fiber network. So we're getting revenue from that, and they do plan to hire within the community. And they also claim that they like to participate in the community in charitable events and such. So I believe they're going to be a good partner with us so far. They have been very, very good to work with.
And Commissioner, this is one of those situations where a decision that was made back in 2007 to overbuild our network, instead of just building the actual strands that we needed to connect our facilities, we put 216 strands into our backbone around the county, and we already currently have 4 partners who are leasing fiber from us, and this will be a 5th. And it's one of the reasons that they came to Carroll County is because we had that major route that they're going to be able to take to get out to the service provider that they use to provide service to the residents of Carroll. So, sometimes it takes a long time to see the fruition of making a decision like that, but it has definitely paid off.
That's awesome.
Yep. And anytime we build a new extension to this, like we built out to Harney and Lineborough Fire Departments, we've also built that in mind with other service providers using portions of that network to as our backhaul to get to their network in other parts of the county. Okay, so some alternative options to broadband here. Starlink, which is a satellite service, is becoming available within the county. There is, if you go on Starlink's network website now, they say they're not in the county, that they're taking applications, but I do know for a fact that there are a number of residents that are starting to get service from Starlink. Okay, Starlink is not necessarily cheap. The equipment costs $600 and the service is about $120 a month, but it is a whole lot better than some of the satellite options that we have now. Starlink uses what is called low Earth orbit satellites, which satellites are a whole lot closer to the Earth than some of the other satellite providers. T-Mobile and Verizon are expanding their 5G fixed wireless to more rural areas of the county. Now, there's actually 2 forms of 5G. One is a slower speed 5G, and one is a ultra capacity 5G. And this is what is actually being expanded out into the counties. We have the high-speed capacity within the cities right now, but it's being pushed out to the rural areas of the county. I know I live in Tawnytown, in a rural part of like Mayberry area, and I can now get T-Mobile high-speed internet there if I want it. The good thing about that is it's generally within the $50 price range, and it's generally anywhere from 30 to 100 megabits download speeds. There are some other fixed wireless, we call them WISP, wireless internet service providers in the county, one of them being TowerStream, which is the old Freedom Broadband that was purchased by TowerStream, and another called Telagea. Telagea is based in Frederick County, and they're pretty much in the southwestern part of the county and moving northward there. building out, so on. And these, at this point, at least, some of these would be considered unserved areas, even though they have it, because they're not meeting the 25 down by 5 upload speeds. So we are allowed to build into those areas that they're serving. And to that point, there's new technology coming out in the wireless space that will be able to provide higher speeds. Okay, so let's talk about the county maps. Okay, what is mapped? So when I first came on board, I needed to figure out what it is that we need to map. There are 3 layers that I just decided were the most important. One is which homes are currently served, which homes are currently unserved but granted, and then which homes are unserved and ungranted. There's a few other things, and based on this data, we have able to extrapolate a whole lot of information out of this mapping. You were talking about the value of our GIS system earlier. This has just been extremely valuable to broadband. Okay, so this is where the slides get ugly. I was hoping to be able to use the GIS system to present to you live here, but we can't use it up in this office, so you have to put up with my slides. So this slide here is currently served homes in the county. So all the counties that have service are represented here. If you look at the dark circle, or not the dark circles, if you look at the black circles, these are homes that are currently unserved in the county. Now, this map also has unserved homes that are currently granted, but this is the 6,000 plus that are not served at this point. Okay, the next slide, show you a little bit. This is Comcast's footprint in the county. As we know it, it's constantly changing, and Carol and I are constantly updating this map. Stop me if you have any questions. Okay, there are other providers providing fiber optic service in the county. There's Ting, which is which is only in the Westminster area. As you can see, there's a big blob in the middle. That's Westminster. Then we have Quantum that has some homes some service up in the Hampstead area and the eastern part of the county, and spread out around the county a little bit. And then we have a little blob down in the southwestern part of the county that is Verizon. Verizon isn't very much here. I think that's probably bleed over from Frederick County. Okay, so what has Quantum been granted and what are they working on? In the green, you will see the Sullivan Road project. As I mentioned earlier, this is supposed to be finished by the end of December. First customer turn up this month. The next project that they will work on, and I'm gonna show you slides of this that are expanded so you can see a little more about the roads and the neighborhoods that they're in. So the next one is what we consider the Neighborhood Connect in purple. That is about to be constructed. Construction is about to start on that. And then the next 2 are in orange or brown are the Network Infrastructure 22 and 23 grants. They can be seen by, the 23 is the blue blobs that you see there. And you can see some of the blue blobs do back up against to the Network Infrastructure 22 grants that are slated to start first. And there are some areas that you can see throughout the county that are not connected to that. But those will be the last to be served, and they should have service by the end of 2026. This is the Sullivan Road project, exploded a little bit more in the neighborhood there. And there's approximately 80 homes here. This is the Neighborhood Connect project. This is the Mid-Carroll section. Now, this is the important map. This is all of the served and granted homes in Carroll County. So this is all the areas that we have recognized as getting service or have service. Now, if we take all that away, we get this. And this is the most important map that we created so far. And this is all the unserved and ungranted homes in the county. Now, the interesting thing about this is The next slide here, this is the county unserved versus the FCC unserved. It's a little bit hard to see here, but what I added back into this map is all the granted areas plus overlaying all the unserved areas. So the purple dots are what the FCC considers as unserved areas. The green dots are what we show as unserved areas also. If you look closely, you can see there's a lot of green dots on there that the FCC doesn't know about. So it is our job to submit those as challenges to make sure that they get covered under the B grant. This is a little bit more granular representation of what's going on. You can see a little bit better. If you see up in the Lineborough area, the northeastern part of the state, the county, there are a good bit of homes there, and there are homes scattered throughout the county that are considered unserved or that are not on the FCC map. That's all I got for you.
There's
questions?
a whole lot of trenching going on, primarily PEI. They started at the tower that's near Lineborough, went out there Access Road, Leisure Lineborough Road, all the way into Lineborough. But then they've also gone out Chalk Road 1. They're on Water Tank Road now. And some of that is connecting fire departments or something.
That's
but
all connected to the fire department.
Is that what all of that is? That won't get any people individual service.
Not at this point, no.
Well,
But
he's right. At this point, it won't. But Commissioner, we did work with I think it was the town of Manchester, correct? Where we actually took and changed our fiber route from Westminster up to the fire department to go through the town so that the town can get connected to fiber. And we're also going to be running through several neighborhoods that in the future, again, having that extra fiber running through there, a service provider could come in and say, we want to lease this fiber from Carroll County and we're going to provide service to these homes in that particular area. So Jay didn't do that portion of this in his presentation, but we are building to both Harney and Lineborough fire departments. We're building to the water tank tower, which is one of the towers one of the water tanks that we're responsible for, so that they have an internet connection and can monitor the water tank remotely. And we're doing a couple of other smaller projects out to Carroll Transit and some of the other buildings that we use. We had about 7 facilities that we did here that are specifically for Carroll County government.
And there's also another one that the state of Maryland is funding, going to the emergency communications tower that we have off of is it Route 30? No, what is it? Union Mills? Yeah, Union Mills. Yeah, in the Union Mills area. The state of Maryland funded that. We did get the opportunity to say we wanted to go this route, which is the western side of Carroll, so that that can be used for the network infrastructure grants that are being built in that area.
You know what contractors Quantum's using? I assume they can bid out and use whoever they want, and it
I
just seems
don't
like
know.
PEI's every place, but they could use whoever they want.
Yeah,
Right. Actually, Kevin has some of his own equipment, so some of the things he does, his company takes care of. He also subcontracts out. And I do know that one of the companies that they use sometimes for some things is the same company that we do, Skyline Network Engineering, does stuff for him. But you're right, we don't have any idea on who all of his subs are. And even Skyline, who we use, has subs that they use to do this stuff out. So.
Yeah, then you'll all see some of Antietam subs coming out there too. So.
A lot of information, and appreciate the stop and go for questions and dialogue. High interest, obviously, to us, and higher interest to all those out there without the connections. And large part of this is expectation management.
Yep,
you know,
it
for
is.
The community is,
Yep,
hey, this is when we expect to do it. You get it early, that's awesome. But here's the expectations, and you're providing us the appropriate information to share with our community members that this is what is expected. So really appreciate the work that you and the whole team down there is doing.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's something I'm very passionate about. So.
Yeah, I could tell.
Thanks very much. This is fantastic.
Good.
This is exactly what I was looking for. Appreciate all the hard work. Thank you very much on the grant side as well. Just Excellent.
Yeah, she's my right-hand man.
Yes.
Right-hand woman. Right-hand woman.
Can't do it. Can't do it without the money. So
And Commissioners, we will, in my monthly report that I give with all the other directors, we will provide updates in that report as things move forward. Okay,
thanks.
So,
yeah.
Thank you very
excellent.
much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris, do we have anybody on the,
Presentation. Exit the presentation. Exit
No, sir.
okay, thank you very much.
Oh, got it.
I have
There we go. Oh, there we go.
minutes to be reviewed from August 31st. Regarding a joint venture. What was this? Oh. Regarding land acquisition, excuse me. So I need a review, a motion, a second, and then approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second to approve the summary of the closed minutes from August 31st, 23. Any discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. For open admin, do we want to bring up, we started having dialogue, but it's appropriate to talk about the responsibilities in departments of land acquisition. And as we're moving forward, we have, as we know, combined land acquisition and
Land and resource management.
land acquisition. I apologize. Land resource management and planning at this time, where Chris Hine is, our director, and the others have fallen in underneath. Now, how do we want to move forward with land resource management and planning? Is the discussion we need to have here, because that'll allow us to take the next steps forward. So,
You're looking for a discussion about the future of the department and a vote on how to proceed.
Yep.
Well, having listened to my friends on both sides of the issue here, I've certainly come down in favor of merging those departments, putting them back together as one. I understand that, whatever reason separated them 10 years ago, but given that, we want to, given that we want to reform parts of our county government, we want to make things more efficient, it makes sense to me that both would be combined under one department. And I know that having a discussion about prioritizing, coming up with a process for prioritization of certain projects is certainly also going to be essential to that merger. And so I'm in favor not only of merging those departments, but moving forward with a prioritization process as well for projects that we have pending.
okay. Any other discussion? Well, I think that there's value, as I shared, I think with a couple of you at different times, the cross-training and knowing how thin we are, in our government structure, the opportunity to cross-train and combine makes most sense.
So do we need
We need a motion and a
motion
second.
of what he just said and
Well,
us vote on it, correct?
yeah, so is there a motion to either make land resource management and planning as one organization, division, or is there another motion out there?
I'll make a motion to merge the departments of land resource management and planning, as well as to direct Chris Hine to come up with a prioritization process for projects. Or should I make those in two separate
No,
motions?
that's all right.
Just do the organization. The other's already in process.
Okay. Motion to merge the departments of land resource management and planning.
Okay,
Second, and also didn't need to be part of the motion, how that's done and how the new person is hired, all that's in the works too, and we didn't need any of that in the motion.
Yes, that's all personnel.
okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Is there any discussion on this? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is that Okay, there was 3 against?
No.
No.
Okay. Got it. Motion passes 3-2. Wanda, you come on up?
Good afternoon, Wanda, because it is afternoon now.
Okay. Monday, September 11th. I believe the ceremony is actually at 8:30.
I was gonna say, that's
not
8:30,
8,
yeah.
but I will
It
do
is,
my...
it's 8.
It's at 8?
8:30.
It's at 8:30, yeah. It begins at 8:30, and there will be a wreath-laying ceremony, a part of that ceremony for 9/11. Currently, Commissioner Gordon, Kyler, Vigliotti, and myself will be attending. And then at 3 p.m., there's a Transit Advisory Council where Commissioner Kyler will be attending. And then please add, Wanda, 6:30 p.m., there's a 9/11 ceremony down in Mount Airy that I know I'll be attending and speaking. Vivian has the details on that, okay? Thanks. Tuesday, September 12th, I'll be participating in the Governor's Workforce Development Board State Leaders Reception out at Maryland Live. Okay. And then from there, I'm scheduled to get back here and attend the Ag Center board meeting. That's going to be a full day on Tuesday, for me at least. On Wednesday, Seniors on the Go Expo. Commissioners Gordon, Garin, Vigliotti. You're not attending that?
And I will attend it, but I have the opioid prevention at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
and I will be, so I won't be there. And I think they wanted to know
It's
who
an all
was there in
day.
the beginning
Yeah.
to help kick it off. I
Okay.
won't be there to help kick it off, but
Yeah, okay.
I will be there.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I figure you're a senior and you'd want to be there.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
He's on the go.
so it sounds, I don't know about that. So it sounds like all of us will be attending at 9 a.m.
At some
and
time.
or sometime throughout the day. It's a all-day event.
Till 2.
At 9 a.m., there's the opioid prevention coalition meeting. Commissioner Kyler will be participating. At 9:30, Commissioner Vigliotti will be participating in the Farm Museum board meeting. On Thursday, we go into open session. There's proclamation, let's see. We're going to transfer some funds regarding solar speed signs over at the Sheriff's Department. We're going to look to approve the purchase, once we transfer those funds, for those solar speed signs. You got to transfer, get the money in the coffers, and then spend it. And then we will have a briefing on the Environmental Advisory Council completed work plans from Land Resource Management and Planning. And then we will talk about a grant approval to submit application acceptance award for the federal 2023 Continuum of Care. From Citizen Services, and Ms. Steckel will lead us through that. We will then have a request for public hearing and grant approval to develop the CDBG, the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG Recovery Support Housing Round 2, regarding the Westminster Rescue Mission. Approval to submit application acceptance award cardiac monitoring devices. Police nuisance call ordinance county. We will then have a discussion and potential adoption of the police nuisance call ordinance. They haven't any commas or something in these things. Contract award for the Eastern Salt Company for bulk road salt. which will not be used this year because we don't use four-letter S words. We will have a contract award, closed-circuit television, CCTV inspection of existing storm drains. And at 6 p.m., State Highway Administration will have a open house discussion regarding the intersection of 140 and 91. Commissioner Kyler and Gordon will be attending that. On Friday, there's nothing scheduled, neither on Saturday. On Sunday, Commissioner Vigliotti has the podcast. There is a horse show ride for responders at the Carroll County Equestrian Center that Commissioner Guerin will be attending. Is that it? Wait a second. Week 2. Okay, I'm getting there. Monday, the 18th, nothing scheduled. Commissioner Kyler will be providing his very strong, clear comments at the Commissioners' Chamber of Commerce breakfast, and I'll be attending to capture every word he shares. Planning and Zoning Commission will occur at 9 a.m., and Commissioner Gordon will be attending. And then Commissioner Gordon and Kyler will be attending the Veterans Advisory meeting at 2 p.m. that day on Tuesday, the 19th. On Wednesday, September 20th, Carroll Community College Board of Trustees, Commissioner Kyler will be attending, unless they liked Commissioner Vigliotti last time. I don't know. He may be stuck. I don't know. And then 7 p.m., the Emergency Services Advisory Council meeting, Commissioner Guerin will be attending. On Thursday, September 21st, we have approval to submit the FY25 Child Support Administration Cooperative Reimbursement Agreement. We then have the grant approval to submit the application and acceptance of the award, FY24 Violence Against Women's Act grant. Then the grant approval to submit application and acceptance of the award FY24 Child Support Enforcement Agreement. And then the grant approval of matching funds for FY24 overtime grants. I have a feeling there's going to be more added to that day, but we will see. Friday.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
Wanda, could you add one thing for that day? I will be at the Heart of the Civil War retreat that they're holding in Carroll County.
Where's that? Just curious.
What is that?
Where?
Where? They're going to be at multiple locations in Carroll County that day.
Hadn't heard.
On Friday, September 22nd, and then Saturday, nothing scheduled. Commissioner Kyler has the podcast on the 24th, and then
on Saturday,
yeah,
Maryland Print House that I think bought the old Spiderwebs building, they have a ribbon cutting there from noon on. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not, but
Are you attending? Are you
Yes.
Okay.
yeah, Rhonda said I had to.
on Saturday. Well, yeah. So it's amazing you don't do what I say. You do what Rhonda says.
That's
huh?
right.
You know. Anyway, Sunday, Commissioner Kyler will be giving his podcast talking about the ribbon cutting that he attended on Saturday, and then on 6 p.m. there's a Gold Star Family Day over at the Bridging Life Hospice. I'm not going to attend because I'm getting my surgery. So if somebody will be attending, just take a look at that.
Wanda, you can put me down for that.
Ms. Hill, I'll send you a note, but I'll be at the, there's a Mount Airy volunteer
Okay. Fire company.
fire company dinner that evening. I'll be attending, but I'll get you the
On the
information.
Sunday.
On that Sunday, that's correct.
Okay, is there anything else? I know the wine festival's coming up.
That's a week from Saturday.
Right, so that's here, and I'll be attending that, I know. I'm allowed. You're not going.
We have a conflict.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going.
It's the 16th, just.
Right. Saturday 16th, I'll be attending, only because Commissioner Kyler will not be.
Thank you.
But just saying.
You can come to the birthday party, too.
I don't want to go to the birthday party. I want to drink wine. Westminster
they're
and Carroll
probably-
County wine. Okay, is there anything else?
Close for
Okay.
land acquisition and then adjourn the meeting.
I need, Wanda, thank you very much. I need a motion to close to go into land acquisition.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
And then, wait, you need a motion to adjourn.
And then a motion to adjourn after that.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing here none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now?
Yes, now you.